Hello.
Oh no.
Oh, you suddenly got feathery.
I felt like I wasn't no, maybe I am colourful enough. I was like, am I not colourful enough? Hi.
You're always
And I buggered my hair. I tried to do it as I was doing it and then I ran down and I couldn't.
Good.
I
What
know.
are you doing?
But I changed my mind because, it's what we do.
You're allowed to change your mind.
Hello everyone.
Hi,
Friends?
everyone.
Probably quiet because my voice is pretty stuffed.
Talking about the background.
Oh.
No, it was the music was quiet. And that's just because it's, intro music.
So I am.
Famously quiet.
Well, I said to Simon as we were starting, I said, I don't. Wait, which side is it? This side. I said, it was very calming. It was very chill.
It was very,
And I was like,
ambient.
which in hindsight makes a lot of sense. Like should be
You
calm.
just gave me the finger.
but
That's literally what you did. I respect
I would
it.
never do that to you properly. It's just out of fun.
I mean,
Um,
I would hope so.
Of course.
But also, you can. I'm okay with it.
Yo friends. So we got in. We've got Maxi. We've
Maxi
got
was here.
Dan talking
Dan
about
was here
balls.
talking about his balls. Yep.
Excellent.
Or generic balls. Then,
Just as you do.
Jordan's here.
Jordan
Smith's
here.
here.
Oh, that's better. Excellent. Thank you, Simon. Simon made it bigger.
Good
That is
time.
not a quote.
Yeah, he did.
That is
Someone
not.
can do it.
I never said they were my balls. Welcome in. Very quiet. Literally just came from Colleen's stream. Nice. We love a bit of Colleen. How is everybody? How was your weekend? Mel,
How is everyone?
today we are we've got some kind of format-ish going, don't we?
We do. I literally, look, I have notes.
So you're good.
I summarised everything we kind of briefly discussed as we do. Erin and I talk on the phone, I'd say most days. Oh,
Yeah.
Lemon's here. So I summarised what we spoke about earlier into things that it's like, I want to make sure that we mention this or you or I mention it.
Yes.
Because, I guess we've got quite a bit of a format. We're starting to get there.
We're getting there. One
Hi
day.
to everyone we're on YouTube, right, Si?
One day.
Yes.
Yes, we are
Yeah,
also
hi to
YouTube.
everyone on YouTube too.
One day we will be that together and I'll have my ADHD under control that I will be ready before we start.
You will. I was only ready before we started because I had stuff on earlier that required me to be ready, but I still changed outfits 6 times.
Yeah.
And I'm still not happy with it.
Me too. I'm glad that we feel the same in regards to that.
But I like that we check with each other as to our level of made-upness, so that at least if you're not wearing makeup, then I don't. It's not like we balance each other.
Yes.
It's not like I look homeless and, ill.
Jenna's like, you'll never have it under control. You're right, I won't.
You might.
I might one day when I grow up.
Well, I don't have many outfits, Max, and that's because it causes me too much anxiety.
You know what? Max is like, I don't believe you. You're right, I probably won't ever grow up. It's
You will. You'll get there. I'm not all that put together. We discussed this earlier.
Yes.
About how you're like, I feel like you're sort of better at regulating whatever it was we're talking about. I'm like, no, I'm better at hiding it. I'm better at doing it all in my head because what's the point of doing it aloud because no one's here to listen?
we also discussed
This music is like it's giving like 90s arcade vibes.
right. I felt very much that I wanted to like growing up as overrated 10 out of 10 asking to refund my adult card.
No, Dan, you can't do that. You're meant to be our adult.
Dan, you can't. You're responsible for keeping things responsible.
Dan gives up his adult card. We're all in a lot of trouble.
Simon.
Descended to chaos. We'll have to find another adult.
Are you putting your
We'll
hand
have
up?
to get a fourth wheel.
I never get a check.
Then we're just a car.
Then we're just a car, and that's no fun.
It's no fun.
Nobody looks at a motorcycle and go, that does not look like fun.
I don't want anyone else to ride my tricycle, really.
Exactly. How many times do you look at a car and go, like, if you looked at a car or a motorbike, or a tricycle, which one are you going to look at and go, that's something that I would love to have a go at?
Though, in kindy, you know how in kindergarten you would have they'd pull out all the bikes and the tricycles and it was like that Fisher-Price car? Being in the Fisher-Price car, it had the roof and that was a pretty cool experience. So maybe we can be that car.
The ones with like the kid's got like the big, isn't he like giving someone the finger and he's like doing a burnout?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly that one.
He's
like plastic. Yeah, I would take that over a tricycle, but no other car.
Although I do giggle a lot the videos of the kids that are in that and just crash. And I saw one where the kid ran over another kid.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. I shouldn't laugh. It's terrible. It should not be encouraged, but it was pretty funny.
I know, those are those videos where like, it's so bad because I would not be the same with animals. I never laugh at those like cat falls off bench kind of things. I'm like, that's awful. Is he okay? But when it's kids,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're robust. Like,
They're robust.
bounce, you know?
Yep. They've got an adult that
my
comes
head
out
and
actually.
I'm fine.
They've got Medicare, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
Anyway,
we have.
so I'm really glad that between us we have 0 kids because
You know what?
I'm sure several people would have just called CPS if we did. Oh,
Yes.
they're meant to bounce. It's fine.
Yep. They're fine. Bump their head once. It'll be alright.
A mean machine. No, we're not a mean machine. We're not cool enough to be a mean machine.
Just try something. They're super fun and nice. Mike, I feel like because I talk about my reaction to children a lot, where I'm like, ew, what did I do the other day? Pretty sure. Oh, that's right. We were walking somewhere, and this kid was barefoot in a shopping centre, and it came at me, and I was like, no, and like was like just backed out, like freaked out. I was like, it's coming close. I said something about, I called it it. I was like, oops.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I never know, even though I have lots of siblings, I am really bad with kids. Like, I cannot interact with them. I am more socially anxious with kids than I am with adults any day. Kids are scary and they're honest. So it's like, if the kid doesn't like me, it's going to say. Whereas, like, Garfield, if he doesn't like me, that's really too bad for him.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's like that.
Luckily.
There's a time that someone came up to Simon and me, who were playing this kid, came up and said, Can we please have Paul Kelly, but what do you say? But the album version, or like but I said, oh, do you want Simon singing? Like, no, we want Paul Kelly to sing it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Let me just call him up.
Like, can you put it? I think he wanted us to put it on the background music when we had our break, but the kid was like, I don't want you to sing it. I want Paul Kelly to sing it. Can you put the Paul Kelly version on? I'm like, fail. But that's the thing, they're so honest. You're like, do you want me to sing it? No, thank you.
Brutal. No thanks.
Yeah.
I'll take one Paul Kelly, please.
But kids also say things that they're not aware really. Okay, so I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot here real bad, but it's fine. I know I said something to a friend when I was a child, and I thought it was supposed to be some form of a compliment. I didn't know what it. Now I've got to reiterate. I didn't know what this word meant, but I heard it somewhere, and I thought it was meant to be, because she was my friend. I thought it was meant to be a compliment. And so I looked at. This is going to sound really bad, and I'm really sorry, but like, this is what my point about kids. Just, they don't know. Even it's not like, you know, I think we apply adult behavior to what kids say. Like, they say things and we think they're doing it knowingly, or it's usually because they've heard it from something and people have laughed, and so they just replicate, or they just say, or whatever it is. So I was like, I called this girl chubby by accident. I said, you're chubby. I thought it was meant to be a compliment.
Oh,
and my
no.
mum, I got into a lot of trouble. But I didn't know. I thought it was meant to be something like, you're pretty. I thought it was like, you know, something like that. I'm like,
Kids say a lot of words that like they don't know the meaning of. It's the whole thing around swear words, right? I've always
The fucking
maintained
goat.
that kids are allowed to swear as long as they do it at the right place and the right time. Like,
Yeah.
we don't do that at school to people. Like, I swear like a sailor, but I never swear. Okay, I never swear at people seriously. I'm never, you know, I'm never gonna say fuck you to someone in any way except the joke. Like, that's always been my rule, is you can swear, but not at people
Yeah.
or things or animals.
I'm really bad at that.
And I maintain that 99% of the time. The 1% being when I'm in the car, and they can't hear me anyway when I'm telling them they're an idiot.
Isn't that? I love my niece and nephew, but I hate other kids. Yeah, like, you know, it's funny because I always say that people hear the way I respond to kids and whatnot, but the other thing is, kids love me, and admittedly, I'm great with kids, and I hate that about myself. Don't kidding. No, I am great with kids. I feel like I've never been asked to be anything like responsible, like never been asked to mind a child or anything like that, because people like look at me and are like, I do not want to leave my child with her. But I'm actually not. Kids always gravitate towards me, and I'm like, why? And I try to exit.
Colourful, bubbly lady.
Yeah.
Like it's a personality thing. It's the way you dress.
Yeah, that's true.
You're a fairy princess.
I'm very princess. And they always come at me and they always talk to me like, I'm like, cool. And I just talk to them like an adult. Yeah, but no, I would be great with kids, but in small doses.
I'm so bad with kids. Like, I'm okay with kids, but I'm not comfortable with kids. And so today, I caught myself talking to these two kids who are looking at a cat that I'm adopting out. And I caught myself using words that I know that they're just never going to know. Like, just the most, I didn't even mean to, it's just, I guess, how I speak, but every time I would say a sentence, I'm like, they don't know what you just said, you idiot. Like, they have no idea what that means. I can't think of examples. But yeah, kids are funny.
Is that one of the
That isn't one of my what you don't sees. I actually didn't include any of my today ones, which is weird because I cut off all my hair. So that's what you didn't see.
It does look lovely.
Thank you. It's very producty because they like to go a bit producty, and I don't like it like that because then I think it makes it kind of look wet and a bit dirty. And anyway, so it's fine. It'll look better when it's.
It definitely looks styled. For those who don't know, we're hi, can you turn the music off?
Aaron, I don't think Aaron can turn the music off.
Cannot. He left. He left the room. He's probably.
And the other thing that happened today was I got stuck in the city because of a protest, which is fine. Like, I'm all for people using their democratic, rights to protest. But while I was stuck in the city,
did that work?
A man ran into my side mirror with his electric scooter. No, he didn't do any damage. Like, he hit the side mirror, and so it kind of just like flipped. But then it was really funny, and I'm like, it's fine. I didn't react at all. But then he just he clearly panicked, and his reaction was to pat it, and so he just goes like this. He's like, there, and then
to your side mirror.
He gave it a little rub and then a pat, and then he scooted onwards.
What?
Yeah. So my side mirror's got a little pet on Swanston Street today.
I don't know. Is the music too loud in the back in the wherever it is to be able to hear us? We are having some music in the background just as I just turned it down a tad.
Schmidt said he could be able to hear it before, now it's too loud. Just trying to get a gauge.
Won't you could go have a listen if you wanted. Did he do that?
Just pat Simon like my rearview mirror.
You can, because you can see that, can't you?
Yeah.
Did you see the face he gave me then?
I see everything. I did see the face.
Well, you patted me on the head.
I couldn't see you, so I was just trying to find where you were, and then I did.
You couldn't.
She found you. Good news, Simon.
So we decided, obviously, because the our ADHD stream is called "What You Don't See." Mel came up with a brilliant idea that, believe it or not, maybe we should start the stream with a bit of a 30-minute discussion of what you guys didn't see, like things that happened in our lives. That
I think we're both the kind of people who share some stuff.
Yes.
But then there's some stuff, it's like that I'm happy to share, but there's not a place for it or a time for it that's appropriate. But it's usually the stuff that's most central to my experience of ADHD or mental health. And it's something, obviously, that was kind of the inspiration behind our name and the inspiration behind this podcast. And so we kind of thought that starting with 30 minutes of just general what you didn't see this week might be helpful. It was the first thing we ever did in this podcast series, and just starting with that, I think, sort of allows just, while we have a theme each week, it gives us an intro point.
Yes. So what did you not see? What did we, what I thought today? I was
to hit my car.
Yeah, that part. Him. Yes, obviously. That's what you didn't see.
That's what I didn't see.
I like that we briefly, just on a side note, this is something like you and I briefly talked about the other day about, because I said someone backed into Simon's car the other day. Actually, it was about a week or two ago, a couple of weeks ago now. And
Yeah.
we could see it happening. It was just, and lucky Simon's got a tow bar, so it was fine. But I could see it happening because I'm like, he's reversing. Because we were like going, like waiting for a car park, and this guy's reversing. I'm like, he's reversing. He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. Bang. And he didn't do any damage to Simon's car because he had a tow bar, you know. But I was like, quick, get his, like, you know, maybe we should get his details. And we looked in the car, and there wasn't any damage. And so we decided, Simon decided that, look, you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And he was like, I'm really sorry. And he's like, it's all good. Don't worry about it. There's no damage. It's more obviously damage to your car. That, you know, that is such a thing that I don't know that everybody would do that. You know,
No, not at
as
all.
soon as a car, like, you get hit, even if it's like there is no other damage, people are so quick to like take you for whatever they can. And it's like, where's the humanity in it? Where's the, oh, look, you didn't really do any damage. And, you know, unless someone, like what you said, like, you know, if someone come out and was like, "Rah, rah, rah," like just in your face,
Yeah,
you'd be
or
like,
if it
okay,
actually
well, I'm not
was
gonna...
serious and, like, you know, or there was enough suspicion that, like, something internal could have been done, even if there was no
But if there was,
cosmetic damage.
yeah, but if there wasn't, but someone got out of the car and was, like, not, like, it was their fault,
Yeah.
they were being rude or anything like that, you'd be like, well, I'm not gonna, like, help you out,
It's
mate.
a balance, for sure, because it's like, you know, is this someone who could potentially go do something worse to someone else? Have they just reversed into me, but it's really clear they're
Is it
drunk?
just, yeah, all
You
those
know,
things.
For me, I don't have a choice now. I have a work car, so
Yeah.
any incident
You
like
have to
that would
report
have
that.
to go through insurance. It's not a choice I have, but I certainly, when I had my own car, I was really, you know, fine about these things. It happened to me multiple times. In fact, 3 or 4 times in the same spot. I got reversed into by people. So, you know, it doesn't hurt to be
Nice.
kind when you can.
Yeah.
Like, it's karma, right?
Yeah, well,
Even if you don't believe in karma, which I don't, I
Yeah.
still think it's like the general, you know, being a nice person is good for you and good for the person. You never know what someone's going through.
that remind me of that karma thing in a minute, because when we do our general thing, there is something that maybe might actually lead on to whether it's another topic for later, but actually I'll just ask it now because I'll probably forget, let's be honest.
Got it.
Would you say pessimism is something that's quite consistent with ADHD? With ADHD, is it an ADHD symptom that we're a lot more seeing on the pessimistic side, or are you more? Do you feel you're more optimistic? Because I feel like I'm very pessimistic, but I'm also a realist.
It's hard to say because I think I consider all options and I tend to sit on the ambiguous fence of a lot of things because I'm like, this could go either way.
Yeah, true.
You know, like I've considered all of the options and so I tend to lean neutral because I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than bitterly disappointed. And so in every situation, I'm never like, I don't get my hopes up, you know, job applications, you know, or promotions is the biggest thing. I'm never going, I've got this, but I'm
Yeah.
also never going, I completely flunked that.
Yeah.
It's rare that I do. And so I often sit on the fence about things. I'm rarely pessimistic or optimistic. I can be
Yeah.
pessimistic about things where the negatives outweigh the positives.
Yeah.
So I think it's more that circumstantially I can be pessimistic if I'm looking at every single option there is and seeing that 90% of the outcomes are negative. I'm like, this is going to be bad. I like, you know, and then I'll be very pessimistic.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm definitely pessimistic, 90%.
Yeah.
I always say, and I know Simon's observed that in my life in terms of that a lot of bad things happen to me. And
Yeah.
whether you want to call it, for a lack of a better description, luck. I have terrible luck. Terrible luck. If something bad's going to happen, it's usually going to happen to me. But then there's the other foot. Excuse me. There's like the other,
Terrible luck.
this other side of it is that Simon says that I do look at the negatives of a situation more as well. That yes, a lot of kind of crap. I have a lot of bad luck, but I'm also aware of more of the bad things. So if good things do happen to me, I probably don't pay attention to that stuff as much as all the negative shit.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
The negative definitely has more impact on me than the positive does. Because I expect the negative from, like, I expect that for myself.
Yeah.
So it's like a confirmation bias, right? If you expect that, then when it happens, it's like, yep, good,
Yep.
told you so.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, and so you notice it because it's confirming your pre-existing sort of biases about what you expect to happen.
Yeah, intense. Which is interesting as well, because it's like, I guess if you speak to someone who's very optimistic. Oh, my phone battery's about to die. Do we have a charger? Sorry, thank you. If you listen to the internal thoughts of somebody who is optimistic, maybe they're like things that they saw as good things were like things that, like, hey, I woke up today, like I had a shower and the shower was hot, for example, hypothetically. And that's a win for them, and they notice all of those little things, the little things that are always going right. So that when one bad thing happens, they're like, oh, but all these other good things, like I got the bus and the bus was on time, hypothetically, or I caught the light today. So whether they're looking at all of those things that are good, whereas we're not looking out for those things, so that when something shit happens, it feels like nothing went right. Even if we got the green light and went through and whatever, or like, do you know what I mean? I wonder if that's... I'd be like very interested to hear the inner thoughts of someone who is extremely optimistic.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, sometimes it's... I do have those moments of optimism, but they tend to be more overarching and they tend to be more broad.
Yes.
So it's like I'll have a feeling of like gratitude occasionally where I'm like, wow, like compare now to whenever, and it's, you know, I have those moments of optimism, but those happen, I'd say, far less frequently than anxious sort of like negative talk in my brain. Yeah. I'm still very grateful for those moments because they're important. But yeah, I think that the negative definitely sort of takes precedence.
I think it's something that's a topic we should definitely venture into deeper at some point.
I definitely do too. Yeah. So Erin.
What
didn't we see this week?
We moved house.
You moved house?
Oh, wow.
No.
You didn't know?
I had no idea.
So, for those who don't know, we're streaming from our new room. Sort of ish.
What an honour to have the first stream in your new house.
I know.
Cheers to that.
So, we're obviously we're not really properly set up yet. What else happened? What you didn't see? Lots. I did. So, we were going to stream our gigs last night. We didn't. There was just a lot going on, obviously, with all the moving and all the stuff. All the stuffs, and because we haven't streamed for a few weeks actually, so this could have. Excuse me, I'm very sorry. Pardon. What? I don't have my reverb unit yet. Yeah, lots happened. I had a bit of a. I've had a lot of probably, and I've talked about this on our stream a lot. About my voice and the condition of it. If a lot of you can probably hear, as soon as I stopped taking my prednisolone, it went downhill. And I can understand. So I remember the ENT was like, in December, was like, go off, don't take any more prednisolone. It's really only meant to be used in emergencies. He just wanted to see how I reacted to, like, how, if that had any improvement on my vocal cords since the steroid injections. So when I had the next one, he was like, go off the prednisolone now. It's only meant to be used like once or twice a year, maybe if you have something really, really important and you're losing your voice and you need it for something very important. So like gigs are probably not considered important. And he's like, he had patients who do abuse it, and when he's talking like abusing it, like they'll use it once or twice a month. I'm like, that's it? But that's considered like using it more than you should. Like, and I'm like, fuck. So he's like, don't use that anymore. And then my voice has gone down from using the prednisolone. Like it's better than it was the first steroid injection I had, but it hasn't gotten better. And because of the 2 gigs that I had, obviously my voice is a lot more tired. And that concerns me that without the prednisolone, it's gone back a step. And I had a bit of a... I felt shit about it, particularly yesterday, because we had 2 gigs, and by the end I was like, my voice is gone. And it's the whole, well, what do I do? I feel like surgery... It bothers me because... I got really upset about it, and this is what, like, you know, this is what happened to me, basically. I mean, I really shouldn't go that much into it because it's not important, but yeah,
it is important, but yeah.
It is important. I got pretty upset about it, and I just was like, it's that whole reflection of what do I do if I don't have my voice? Like, you know, there's the options of just continuing with, I said from day dot when I saw him, I said, I don't want to be spending 6 months just having the steroid injection, having vocal therapy, if it doesn't work, and then have to have surgery. If surgery is the option, I'd rather do it now, because if I have to spend 6 months of this and not be able to use my voice, that's a long time for me to feel shit about myself. Yeah. And I don't think I can handle it. And I'm at that point now where I'm really struggling handling it, because it is looking like it's pushing out to that long. Because I saw him, in October? Like, we're at the 3-month mark. Yeah. And so I feel like another 3 months of my voice doing this, not getting better, and then if it gets another 3 months and he goes, all right, surgery, then I have to wait another probably month or two before I can probably use my voice.
Yeah. I'm
really struggling with that. I'm almost like, should have done the surgery just straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's an injury that's, I was using the analogy yesterday that if you fractured a leg, you kind of like, well, you can still use it, but it's not going to properly heal unless, so if you walk on it a bit, you're going to eventually probably snap it and then it'll never get better. Or you need to just go and get a plaster put on it or surgery and have pins put in it and then fix it. Feel like my voice is the same. It's like what we're doing now is just kind of putting a Band-Aid on it a bit, where it's like, just fix it. Yeah. It feels like surgery is the fix it.
So you can start to heal.
Yeah. I feel like the damage that's there isn't going to heal by just doing what we're doing. It's probably going to make it a little bit better, but not actually. If it's like, if you've got a growth, how do you fix it? Cut the growth off. You can't the growth's not going to just disappear. That I don't. But what do I know? I'm not an ENT, so maybe my view of it is completely wrong, and probably what I need. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm feeling shit about it. Plus moving. Plus moving house has been super stressful.
Yeah.
I hate packing. It stresses me out. We spoke about this briefly, which brings up this topic of procrastination and transitions, because this is a big, obviously I'm transitioning to a whole new house and all the things, closing the door on that one, tying it all up, all the stuff that could go wrong with cleaning, packing, all the things. Do I have to get rid of this shit? Do I have to get rid of that? How do you get it all into the house? It would have been great if we just had the two houses, because whilst this one was like clean and everything, like we got half the stuff in here and it was put away. I was like, this is great. Now with everything back in here, it's like boxes everywhere again. I'm like, I don't like it. Where do you put stuff? Is this going to fit? And now we have stairs. So it's like, do I bother trying to get this up the stairs? And then what if we get up there and then it doesn't fit? Then I have to bring it all the way down. Am I going to put a hole in the wall? Is this going to fit? How do I adjust? The things about houses, rooms. Oh my God, what a meltdown I had over our room because of the layout. And I'm like, where do I put? I even Googled feng shui. Where should a bed be placed in the room? Like, because the only spot that it fits is on where you open the door. That's where the bed is. Like, it's the only spot, because you've got an ensuite straight over, a window, then a door to the balcony, and then a walk-in room, a wardrobe on the other side. I'm like, there's nowhere else to put it. And then I have a meltdown as to why people planned the room like that. So I start looking up architecture, don't I? No. Bad, Erin. So
I get it though.
This is the meltdown that I've been having over the last few weeks.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. Dan says, however, looking at this from the optimistic side, you landed a doc that's not pushing a potentially unneeded surgery or drugs that will do more harm in the long run. Yes, but my thing with that, Dan, is that I have had surgery when I had a couple of cysts on my vocal cords many, many years ago. And that surgery was the best decision I ever made. My voice was like, I thought my whole life that my voice was just like it was basically like this. That's why I feel like surgery is the only option. Because when I had surgery, it fixed it. Like I had a voice that I never really, yes, I had a voice, my voice was getting tired and I'd lose my voice by the end of a gig like it is now. And when I had that surgery and had it removed, the cyst removed, my voice was like, it was my voice, but completely different in the sense that it was, the clarity in it was incredible. My level of, high, like to endure longer gigs and not get exhausted and tired because I didn't have something interrupting, blocking, causing my vocal cords. The cyst can obviously it's causing my problems with my vocal cords. I was able to last the gigs a lot longer. My clarity was all that stuff. And that lasted 12 years until obviously I've been going through a lot of stress lately and this has happened. So that's where I go, the surgery is, that's where I'm, in my brain, I'm going, the surgery is the best option for me. And this long 6 months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of just doing this slow therapy is really causing trouble for me mentally and emotionally.
Yeah. And that's important too, right? But 3 months ago, you were more on the side of, I don't want to have surgery. And so, at the same time, it's a toss-up of where you weren't then and where you are now.
Yes.
Definitely changes things.
Yeah.
Hi, Tempsy.
Yeah.
How you going?
Yeah, it's a scary thing because it is your vocal cords and it's so
is.
delicate, and it's like, well, yes, I had surgery last time and it fixed it and it was great. I think at that point I was just devastated that it was happening, probably as well, because I'd know what I'd been through before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was being encouraged to think that it would fix it. I wouldn't have to have surgery, that this would, most people have been able to get better, but maybe I don't know what their damage was like or what they're singing, because some people who have this surgery will just go back to singing the way they usually did. But my problem is not my singing. Again, the fact that I said I've had this surgery and I've lasted, I never had an issue at all. Not at all, except since the last 6 months, and that's when it went downhill real quick.
Yeah.
But anyway, a friend of mine got in a car crash recently. He came out of it with almost no physical injuries. He was really quiet, okay, for the most part. Yep. I actually did the same thing when I got in my accident. Believe it or not, me went real quiet, real introverted. I didn't speak to many people. I was very quiet for a few months. Same thing.
It's a very normal response.
Yeah. But he was majorly traumatized and he fractured one finger in his left hand, and he's a guitar player. Oh, shit. And he can't play guitar until his finger heals. That's tough. Playing guitar is his best personal therapy for the trauma. I'm sure he'd relate to your issues. Yeah. I definitely reckon he would. Yeah. Because I said that to Simon as well when I was trying to explain about, it'd be like, it's hard for people to understand when they haven't lost a part of them that makes them them. Like if you couldn't play guitar, how that would affect you. It's a whole series of things, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hard when you lose your biggest coping mechanism.
Which I feel like for ADHD, that's probably one of the things that holds me together. Is that?
Yeah, I understand. It's really hard.
Anyway, sorry, this isn't a therapy session for me. Sorry, it's just turned into it.
Well,
isn't
it kind of is, because there's other people who will relate, as you can see from the chat. That's about, that's why we're sharing what you didn't see.
Yes.
It's an encouragement for other people to remember that it's okay to share. You don't have to hold that stuff. We need to be more honest, because humanity is messy and hard.
Hi, Lynn.
Especially when you add in, ADHD or any other mental health stuff that people can't see.
Yep.
Yep.
So on that note, did you have anything else for what you don't see?
I haven't shared any what I didn't see, apart from the fact to cut all my hair off.
That and just the
well, that was just today. That was just general banter. What I have on my list of what you didn't see is kind of similar to yours. It's my mental health has been pretty poor the last couple of weeks, just under stress.
Yeah.
I have to move as well. I don't have to move, but the impact of not moving is pretty substantial for me.
Yes.
But I've been under a fair amount of strain over the last 12 months, and putting down a deposit on a place is really hard, and that's causing me a lot of stress, especially in an economy where a rental deposit is more than a month's worth of wages, and I have to move in less than 2 months, and so that's really causing me some stress. And then on top, I've got some health stuff going on. Found out about, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago now, that I have another sort of comorbidity with the health stuff that I have. I'd always kind of suspected it. I'm very hypermobile. I've been able to do the splits since I was a kid for no reason, despite not being a dancer or trained at all. I've shown some of my hypermobility funny stuff before, just double jointedness. It was always a bit of a party trick. Yeah, that I can
even
touch my with my thumbs and stuff. It's just there's other stuff, it's more than 90 degrees of flexibility in your fingers and stuff like that. So I've always had hypermobility, but it's always just been a funny, I'm double jointed, kind of thing. what I didn't kind of ever compute was that the same tendons and ligaments that are affected by what I have, which is called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, also hold all of your inside stuff together, and so I'm having issues like with internal organs, and so have to have some surgery to fix some stuff. Sort of, they want it done within the next 3 months, but with me moving, realistically, it's going to be after that because I can't. Like, it's just me. I'm by myself. I don't have a huge family to help, or like most of my friends aren't here, so you know, I have to do it myself. So the mental burden of knowing I have to move and understanding how much that will help me, especially when I'm going to be off work for recovery from this surgery at some point, it's pretty pivotal that I do it, and not just that, but
thank you, Mel. Thank you.
I've never met a man who would have helped me through surgery, but go off. So I have to, it's just the mental burden of the combo of needing that surgery, which is not something I really like. I've previously spoken about how I sort of felt like I was on top of everything. I know what I have to deal with, and I can deal with it, knowing Garfield's just destroying my whole office right now. It's fine. It's fine. He's happy. The burden of knowing I need to move, on top of the like the financial bit, and the feeling like I was in control of my health, and now it feels like I'm not again, and there's another thing wrong with me that I don't know how to manage. It just adds a lot onto the plate that's getting a bit overwhelming. And I've really, really struggled with that over the last few weeks. It's caused a lot of like insecurity of like, look at all these things that are wrong with me, and I don't want to talk about it, because like, at what point do I become that person where it's like everyone just assumes that I'm a hypochondriac, and it's like, no, I have these very serious illnesses, but they're all internal illnesses, and so it's not clear to people what's going on, or how much damage it's doing. It's, you know, it's really hard, and it causes all sorts of sort of issues by extension. It's caused a lot of body image issues. It's caused a lot of anxiety about not wanting to be a burden on people. There's just a lot that comes with it, and it's really hard. So again, it's that, you know, self-worth that comes with having health stuff going on. It makes it really hard, and you've still got to get through and do everyday life. And you know, there is a lot of perception from the general public, like we just saw, where it's like, well, just suck it up, sunshine. And it's like, because I don't have 2 broken legs and a smashed spine, it's, well, you're just fine. You're doing all the things. You've got a job, and you've got a house, and you've got a car, and you know. But inside, I'm like a bit of a mess, and not really coping. I'm just very good at internalizing it, and I think that I then get a lot of social anxiety, because I'm like, I don't want to burden people, and it does come out occasionally in my like sort of humor and things, where I'm like quite self-deprecating, and it's clear what I'm doing, but I can't. I find it hard to talk about, and so, and I also feel like I'm, you know, at what point do I talk about it and then have the impact of someone just going, oh my god, whatever, and leaving me, and that's really hard too, because I can't take that on top. So it's been a hard couple of weeks, and I think in part for both of us is why we took a bit of a break, as well as, you know, holiday stuff. It's, you know, it's hard to sit and talk very candidly about mental health when you're not in a great place. So it is hard for both of us, but I'm glad that we're back and doing it.
Definitely. It's such a thing, isn't it, that it's, I always go to that whole point of, you never know what's going on in someone's life, so don't judge. Like, it's so quick to just, you know, it's in even, and this is gonna sound really stupid, but as in, even to the point of where, like, you know, the times, and I've totally done it, where you see somebody speeding down the freeway, hypothetically, and you go, what an asshole, what a dickhead, like, how dare you causing someone to, but you don't even know that they've got a pregnant lady in there that's about to go. You don't know that they're rushing because of that someone, that they've got some family member that's hanging on by a thread somewhere.
It's Garfield. It's fine.
I'm like,
he's mad at me. It's, you know, anyway, sorry. But yeah.
All is like, you know, you don't know what's going on in that, sure, they could be just being a
just don't
hoon,
know.
but you don't know either. Like, you know, I know when I've been rushing, like I've been spending that forever because of something that's like when Harley had that issue when he was little and he ate some feminine hygiene products, and I was like gunning it down the freeway because I'm like, and I just like, you know, because I'm like, he could die in a minute, like, and I'm sure people are like, what, you're a psycho, like what the hell's wrong with you? But I just use that as just one small thing, and it's the same thing with like all like the mental health and the internal health. Someone could look perfectly healthy, but like people are so quick to judge or just be like, you'll be right. It's like, well, how do you know? You know, we're so quick to tear people down without knowing anything about them, and it's pretty fucked.
It is. It's really hard, you know. It's hard. It's hard to be on the receiving end of it. It's hard to be on the giving end of it because we all do it. We all have those judgmental moments where it's like, what on earth are you doing? Like, what is wrong with this person? But we have no idea. But then when you're on the other end of it, it's very isolating because you're like, I know what I think when people do that.
Yeah.
So what are they thinking about me? And it's really hard. I find myself feeling very, very alone.
Yeah.
Particularly over the last couple of weeks. It's like I go into hermit mode when I'm not coping, and I have hermited myself pretty hard because I just can't talk to anyone without talking about it because it's such a big part of my being right now that I just like, how do I have a conversation without being like, oh, well, today I did 7 things that have to do with my health because that's all I can do right now.
Yeah.
It's really tricky, and I find myself like either isolating myself completely or just having one-sided conversations where I base the whole conversation on asking questions of the other person and just listening because I'm like, I just can't, like, the second someone says like, how are you, it's over. Like, I'm just gonna have a breakdown. And no one, like, in my head, I'm like, no one cares enough to deal with that, so just shut the fuck up. And so that's where I get to, and it's not a really healthy place because then you compound that and it's really not good for you.
We've spoken about that briefly. Is like, yo, Veriment, what's up? We've spoken that briefly. I think we've spoken that in the past as well. That whole, it's when you get on a roll, and I don't mean like I'm on, like, you know, when you just all of a sudden you start talking, then all of a sudden it becomes word vomit, and then you've just gone off on, like, you've just had a full like vent of something, and then you're like, can I just pick all this back up and put this back in here? Because now you think that I've just unloaded all this drama on people, and they're going to be like, okay, psycho, sit out. Can I have a 1.5 minute
like,
distance, please?
I've ruined this friendship now. They're never going to want to talk to me again.
Yeah.
And again, that confirmation bias plays a very significant part there because it's like, well, then if you don't talk for a few days, it's like, I did it. I fucked up. And I've done this not to you, not about you, but to you before. I'm like, that's it. I think this person hates me because, like, I've done ABC or I said this thing. I do it at you as well sometimes where I'm like, oh, I didn't mean what I said ABC to read like this, just in case you, like, I don't want you to think that.
Because we break down everything that would, like, how every way that what we've said could be interpreted. And we're like, oh God, they've thought that.
Yeah, but it's the second, you know, like, it's a floodgate. You open that floodgate and it's a scary place because it's like, oh, someone cares, here you go. I'm going to tell you one thing, but you can't close that gate again once it's open, and so opening it is a really vulnerable thing. And then if you don't get, not that you expect a certain reaction, but if you like sense some, not hostility, but like hesitation back towards you, it's like, that's it, I fucked it again, look at me go, ruined another friendship, no one cares, no one likes you, like, and that's the cycle that I'm in at the moment. It feels like a riptide that I've been pulled under, and it's just constantly just being smashed under another wave, and it's really hard. So it's a bit of a balance of sharing and not sharing that I definitely need to get better at.
There for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
You should. See?
You're one of the consistent people who is there, and I know I can have a breakdown too, and I appreciate that. So is Tempsy. But I mean, the whole moving thing and the uncertainty definitely rolls into. I have good networks, Veriment. I'm just not very good at social things. I'm autistic, so social things for me at the best of times, very hard. When things are hard, then all of my coping skills that I work through get worse. And so I go into my easier coping skills that don't impact other people, which is just to completely isolate myself and become a little hermit.
But you are very good at, I was about to say transitions, because I know that what I was am going to say transitions, because transitions is part of the topic of conversation today, is that you're in amongst those thoughts, though. You're very good. Obviously, we've said before that your crisis mode is very good. And I'm going to say kudos to you because of some of the work things that you've been commended for. Is a big hats off to that. I feel like you being able to being put into in a different environment and being able to go, okay, how do I manage this? How do I do my best in this new scenario? Or when a spanner gets thrown into your life, you're good at probably going, okay, let's deal with this. And
I'm good at looking like I do.
Yeah.
On the outside, I really don't cope very well with transitions. That's actually one of my biggest sort of ADHD impacts. That's the thing that probably affects me nearly the most of the ADHD side of things is transitions.
Do you want to go on and
okay on the outside, but I think intrinsically it's something I've always struggled with. And you know, there's different types of transitions. There's small transitions and big transitions. I think like your small things are the everyday, the going to bed on time, getting out of bed on time, getting yourself to get into the shower, getting out of the shower. Yes.
I just want to say real quick, because I kind of went into that, and I wanted just to make sure that I just quickly said that you are very important, you are loved, and you are, and just, can everybody say how much you love Mel in the chat, please? Because, you know, you are a good human being and a great human being at that. And people love you, and your feelings are valid, but just so that you know.
You're not allowed to do that.
Yes, I am.
It's banned.
You can't ban. You can't
I'm not
ban
wearing
your mind.
bulletproof mascara. Go to hell.
I got love you, Mel. What's
It's good to love yourself too, right?
love? What's the I bit, Dan?
The eye jam.
What is the I bit, Dan? Can you figure that out? Love you, Mel.
Love you.
Inside. Oh, that is was so far wrong.
That's really cute.
That is very cute.
I was going with igloo for the eye. Love you, my igloo.
I was like, I love you, Mel, internally. Inside.
Oh.
Yeah. I moved to my house this week, and my dog can't walk properly. Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Sure. But I'm amazed.
Don't
Poor Funky.
Hello.
Amazed but I'm amazed at singing, even though my voice got all raspy and hot. But what? I have a mini bit. Now I realize this is not about you at all. But I have a mini bit, and Mel is a good human with excellent kneecaps. Oru Raid.
It's like a howling noise.
Oh, Dollinger. Why didn't that show up on here?
Yeah.
What's up, Pants? Yo, Dolly, what's up?
I'm in a fight with Garfield right now. You guys aren't seeing it, but there's fists being thrown. Hi, Dollinger.
I probably thought you meant about Funk. I was like, poor Funky, what's wrong with Funk? The sky is up, what's going down? Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
It's going down.
Actually, nothing's going down.
We are kind of.
How are you? Thanks for the raid.
We are talking about what's going down.
We are?
Yeah.
Just took it somewhere else, didn't I? So sorry, back to what we were saying. Where were we at? Transitions and how much we love you. I mean, like an igloo in the summer, mate. Let's adopt a penguin. Valkyrie says, "Hey Mel, hey, that I'm good at looking like I do. Wait, hey, that I'm good at looking. Good at looking. I'm like, she is good at looking like she does.
The decisions is.
I read that
bold of you.
I said that really
Valkyrie.
In my head. Yeah, I'm good at looking like I do. I thought that was like a I'm like,
In my head,
I'm like,
which could not be further from the truth, by
like,
the way,
yes, she
because
is.
I had such a crisis this afternoon about like how I look that I cut off like 7 inches of my hair. So, you know,
But not yourself.
At Just Cuts, by the way, like I went full manic and was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you $30. Do your worst.
So, Simon goes.
Worked out all right.
At least you did that. See, my manic would have gotten friggin' some scissors and done it myself, and that would have been way worse.
I nearly did.
But
The reason I didn't is because I cannot do it anymore because of when I injured my shoulder last year. So I actually don't have the range of motion
I
to
forgot that.
get behind my head with my left hand because I'm left-handed, like you.
Is it the right shoulder?
That's my left.
Okay. Then we're not exactly like. My
No,
shoulder's
but
been
we
playing
don't
up
always
again.
have to be this. It can be the same thing on a different arm. That's allowed. It still counts.
I forgot that you had shoulder problems because I've got enough. My shoulder problems come back again after doing all the moving and lifting things.
Yeah.
It's stuffed.
But that also, it was something that made a lot of sense. Is that I always do ligament and tendon damage. I never break a bone. I've never ever. Oh, that's a lie. I broke my little toe. Once.
Which one?
The left-hand side, the second one from the little toe, like the ring toe. I bashed it up against a door because people with ADHD have no spatial awareness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I broke my little toe on the left, the little one. That was one of the bones I broke when I had a car accident.
Yeah, it was brutal. But I always do damage to my ligaments, which is an EDS thing. It's like, it's all ligaments, they're too stretchy, and so it compensates. Like, you bend too far instead of breaking a bone. Everything just bends.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wild.
Can I please see? Sorry. I want to finish what Valkyrie said. Yeah, Mel, that looking like I'm good at looking like I do. You're not giving yourself enough credit. Facts. It is very, very rare for someone to be able to make sober decisions in a stressful situation, regardless of how well you actually cope internally. In what Erin says is true, and you can actually make decisions in difficult situations and not have a meltdown when it matters. That is amazing, and yes, it's normal if you have a meltdown after. Well said. You are very good at that.
I am very good at internalizing things. Now, like, I appreciate you, like, saying that that's a hard thing to do. I wish I didn't do it so much. Because sometimes I'm like, if people actually saw, like, my process, maybe they would be a little bit more empathetic.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, it does benefit me because it means that I can do all of the normal human things, have a job, you know, have friends, hopefully be a decent human being some of the time, and, you know, show that I care about people and give people the love that they need and deserve when they need and deserve it. But it is something I really struggle with. Transitions for me, I think, is probably the biggest ADHD thing that isn't helped at all by my medication. Like I said, I think I want to introduce this by saying, like, a transition being an in-between, or something like, you know, I said the small transition I would consider to be, you know, going to bed, getting out of bed, making a meal, having a shower, brushing your teeth, interrupting one thing to go do another thing. The bigger transitions, I think, are then your life things. Moving is the big one, and obviously it's one we're both experiencing to some impact, to some extent.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's others, you know, like big life changes, having a baby, getting married, moving in with someone, those kind of life changes. But yeah, I think I'm more impacted by the little ones, but the big ones, or like a new job, you know, the big ones definitely impact me too.
Yeah.
I find it really hard being in an unknown.
Thanks, Mark, for the resub. Hey, Erin and Mel, cheers for the awesome 5 months and many, many more months come. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just quickly, Verimit said, appreciate your resub. Thank you. Come hang out. Verimit said, do you consider that a form of masking or just covering up? I feel like they're one and the same.
Not necessarily.
No?
I think it's both. I mask it because I'm conditioned to mask it.
Yeah.
I think masking is more what society expects of you versus covering something up or hiding something for the benefit of yourself or people you care about.
That's okay. Yeah, cool.
Just so I understand, is Erin just slamming beers right now?
Not beers, no.
That's why we're different people. You're slamming bevs, I'm slamming a cup of English breakfast tea.
See, that's what I should be slamming.
Which is my dinner.
But these There's only like 4%. I should be slamming mini beers.
I love this cup, by the way. It makes me so happy.
What
Did you
is
see
it?
this? Did I show it? I showed it on my stream yesterday. So I had a Christmas party for our rescue the day before on Saturday. And we each got personalised cups of some of our Fosters from throughout the year. And so this was one of my first
think
Fosters.
did you put
and then
this
obviously
in-
Garfield, and this is gingerbread.
Did you put that in the Fur Babies channel? Where did I see it? I saw that somewhere.
I showed it on my stream last night.
Maybe that's where it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember if you'd seen
Thank
it,
you.
but it makes me really happy. I love a good personalised gift. They're my favourite.
Wait for the ADHD. What you don't see. I'm asking mugs.
Excuse me, Garfield. What we're not going to do anymore. I can't wait for our What You Don't See undies.
Can we show them?
You can maybe do
Are they
that
available?
while I run to the bathroom.
Huh?
Can you do that while I run to the bathroom?
I really need. I'm just. Well, yes. Can we both?
Are we taking a pee break? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
I've had like
Merch?
3 liters of water today.
Simon, do you want to sit in this spot and then you can.
This
or
is
you can tell
Simon's
people?
podcast now while Erin and I go wee.
Yep.
So,
Oh, Fosmo. So I was just recently diagnosed, like literally last month. Last month? December? November.
no,
November. November.
Richard was December. I was diagnosed, so I am
Excuse me.
28 now. So I was diagnosed when I was 26.
Cool. Pee break.
I will be right back.
This is not my podcast. What am I? What? This is not fair. We need a BRB screen for when this happens, I think. Hey, Dollinger. Hey, everybody. What's happening? Hey, Ash. 1 second. What you don't sigh. Yeah. How is everybody? Good. 1 second. That's better. I couldn't hear myself. Hold on. There's shit everywhere. This desk was clean before Erin sat down. Alright. What was I going to do? I was going to do something before I was rudely interrupted. So, apparently, somebody was asking about merch. So, we are going to... Where are we? 1 second. I don't want that. That's the one I want. 1 second. I am just going to throw this one up here. Why isn't it letting me do that?
Pasta or scrambled
Here we
egg?
go.
Oof.
So there is a link to the What You Don't See podcast merch. And if you have a look in there, there is some undies. Where are we? Oh, I think Mel's back. There's also a couple other things in there, as you saw.
Is that like I heard earlier?
That's Simon modelling, just saying.
There's some caps, there's some mugs, there's a t-shirt, there's stuff.
Stuff. Thank you for making those, Simon.
For the moment, I'm sure we'll add to that.
I can't wait to
You
be
know
able
what?
to do a podcast wearing our own merch.
I might. Well, Erin can come sit back here because I'm going to do something. I've got an idea.
Uh-oh.
Just for this stream. Okay. Cool. What's that about?
I don't know.
Righto.
I love it when somebody sends me a message to my music page saying, "Hello, Erin from insert location here, which I'm not from there. My name is insert name here. Please answer.
Meanwhile, I'm getting messages about, hi, can you foster these kittens that I found? No, no, no,
I cannot.
no. I have to move. I am trying to get rid of the kittens that I have because I can't afford my house deposit. Go to hell. Kind regards. Yes, so there were a couple of questions. I'm going to scroll through them.
Yes. I'm just trying to back
So,
room.
we answered that one.
Tempsy says, hi, Si, love what these two use you for.
We love producer Sai. We do need like a second menu that's just for when we go to pee. That's
Yep.
just what you don't Sai.
He said, did you hear him? Did you hear that?
No,
Yeah,
I-
I wrote it.
Oh, did you?
It was my comment.
Oh, now I
Um,
see.
Do you think that, this is for me, I guess, do you think the ADHD medication helps with the autism side of short-term memory? Yes and no. I think it helps with the focus, which therefore frees up more of my brain to not be just sitting in my head going, remember to do this, remember to do this. It definitely straightens things out a little bit more. So instead of having 3 or 4 things that are just flying through my brain, it's just one thing at a time. And so I think it does, but I think it helps in a way that helps the ADHD, which therefore frees up room in my brain to deal with the autism things. Does that make some sense? That's disgusting noise.
Not great, is it?
It's Erin shaking cream.
That's not what dog sounds like. Sorry.
You self-medicate with THC and that messes with your short-term memory. Interesting. I use medical marijuana for sleep. I've spoken about it a little bit. Not heaps because I know that it's not legal everywhere and I feel funny about it. But
Dolly's right. Can we have a psycam like super tiny, just hiding in the corner? She's not wrong.
I have one.
Yeah. There have been a few. If it's okay to. Oh no, that was asked from before.
I answered that. So Dolan
Yes.
just said, I'm on the spectrum as well and also I'm on meds to deal with anxiety. You can't add the proper medical opinion, but you do find it helps you control the anxiety side more than the autism side. Interesting. I was on an anxiety medication and found them not helpful because they exacerbate ADHD symptoms quite a lot of the time.
Can you repeat that? 'Cause
I
I'm trying to
tried.
understand that question again.
You want me to read it again, or do you want me to
can't-
explain what they mean?
Yeah.
It's not so much a question. Dolinda's just offering experience on how meds interacted with autism, ADHD. So on the spectrum, meaning on the autism spectrum.
Yes. And how the autism medication
So
affected
how the ADHD medication does that help with some of the aspects of autism.
and
My answer is,
anxiety.
Dolinda's comment is adding in anxiety medication
Right.
as opposed to ADHD medication.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so for me, it's hard because ADHD and autism overlap. There's definitely symptoms that I wouldn't have if I didn't have autism, but I might attribute them to ADHD. So you don't know. Some of the symptoms are shared, and so I don't know if it's ADHD meds helping my autism or ADHD meds helping ADHD, and I was blaming autism for that thing. Oh, Dan.
What is it? Play it.
The title.
You can
We could never hate you, Dan.
click. I know, never hate you, Dan.
Don't be silly.
Even the whole what happened yesterday, but
Even when you said that I'm worth less than half of Simon. Let's just start that again, shall we? That'll be really good. If I start that again, I don't hate Dan, but Dan might hate me.
poor Dan.
Poor Dan.
Do you want one?
Things are just flying through my brain. It's just one thing at a time. And so I think it does, but I think it helps in a way that helps the ADHD, which therefore frees up room in my brain to deal with the autism things. Does that make some sense? That's disgusting.
You play that on stream. That looks so bad. We can't? Oh no, that's okay. If anybody, if
Change everything, that's fine.
no, that's okay. Don't go. I said if you can't, it's fine. We
I'm
just
just
watched.
trying to make sure that
The sound was all you needed.
just trying to keep this so it's okay for YouTube as a video and not.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, no, you're right, Simon.
I'm so glad we have a producer.
I know.
Unless you want that, but just that's why. I
No,
don't
you
have,
could hear it. It's
That's
fine.
why I don't have the overlays and all that sort of going on because it's for YouTube as well.
That's fine. Thank you, Simon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I love you like a sister wife.
My dad will be pleased.
That was very funny. That was very funny. It just, especially in sequence, when you actually watch it back, it's like, but that's funny. So someone is saying, like,
In
so
my head, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt.
Yes.
In my head, I'm trying to figure out if Dan means sister wife as in like polygamy or if he means sister / wife. I love you like a sister, but also kind of like my wife. Or if he means like sister wives.
when you put it like that, I don't think either is good.
No, neither is good. But yes, good, right? I mean, look, what is the tricycle if not a very mentally ill version of sister wives?
I'm leaving it ambiguous on purpose.
Yeah, that's not going to end well for me because I'm going to take it like, I'm going to twist that back into you hating me, Dan. Don't worry about it.
Someone made a point and said something about the different medications, because I'm going to touch on that about the medication question, because I'm in a position, and I feel like everything we talk, I'm like, I remember saying, we've spoken about this before, because we've spoken about all these things before, but I don't feel like my meds are helping me right now. Simon?
Huh?
Yep. I think Simon said he's noticed a small improvement in my mood with the meds, that I'm not... What did you say? What did you say about the meds with me?
Basically, I feel that overall, when you have them, you are in a better mood. You're less bitey at little things. As in, the little things don't... You're not as upset or angry about those little things that you normally would be.
Noticeably? Like, are you saying that noticeably?
I feel like it, yeah.
Okay.
Which is interesting because that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's that little stuff isn't as loud.
Yeah. Whereas my
I've
brain
said
doesn't...
to you that I always compare it to trying to get someone and it's hard for you, and the reason it's hard is I work a normal corporate job.
Yes.
Right? I'm working 9 to 5. If I'm not focusing, it's really noticeable. For you, it's going to be more minor stuff because your job is not so highly impacted by the need to focus, like you can you are multitasking a lot, but I think for you it would be more subtle. I think Dan's right. I think your mental focus on stream has shown improvement.
Has it though?
I also think your ability
Really?
to convey and be perceptive of how you're feeling has improved. I think your perception of yourself in a state has improved. Even like how we spoke earlier today, you were able to go, here's how I'm feeling, that's why I'm feeling that way, here's how I'm reacting, here's what I'm experiencing mentally, here's my physical reaction, and here's how I got there. And that's because you don't have necessarily 50 other things playing at the same time. I've always compared it to trying to get someone to work in a nightclub, and then they've worked in a nightclub their whole life. They've had to sit on a computer and write essays in a nightclub. And it's loud, and there's smoke, and there's smells, and there's yelling, and there's, like all this stuff going on. And then you let them work in a library. And it's like, whoa, this is so much easier now because I'm not overstimulated by everything going on around me. And I think it's noticeable in you, but maybe you don't pick up on it so much because your day is not consistent. I don't see my day and then my day with meds.
Yes.
They're not the same. You never have a day the same.
That's why
because you create your own schedule.
That's why I feel like I'm like, they're not working because I don't feel like anything's different, which is probably better to hear it from other people and just like for other people to say so, because I imagined that it would help regulate my decision making or make things like that easier. I feel like still can't make decisions. There are a lot of other things, whether that's to do with trying something like other meds, I don't know, or whether I don't know what.
Maybe you need to try a different med, or you need to try some combinations, and that's something to go over. Like, while it's good that other people can see it, you also need to be able to identify it. That's important.
Yeah. Are you guys noticing that?
Simon.
That work? Hope you guys don't mind.
Oh, nice. Yeah, do it.
That's great.
I found a notebook from grade 9 recently. It had nothing but thousands of my signatures in it. Oh my God, I used to do that all the time at school.
Also, I have signatures practice for like several people that I was convinced I was going to marry. I'm like, I am ready to be like
Mrs. So-and-so.
Whatever, Mrs. Yeah. Meanwhile, me as an adult who's like, I won't change my name for any man. Unless he has like a much superior surname that I want because it's really cool.
Correct.
Otherwise, no.
100%.
My decision to change my name in marriage, not that I plan on getting married because, you know, like I'm halfway dead already, it's fine. But like the fact that it's like, does it sound cool with my first name? Does it sound cool with the baby names I have had picked for 15 years? Does the signature look cool? If any of those is no, I'm not taking your name.
Yeah.
Because my name sounds good with my surname, and my signature's pretty cool, and my baby name works with my name. I will name my kids with my surname. You watch me. I don't care who he is.
They're not hyphenated. Or maybe they will be hyphenated.
Harry. I'm still I mean, he doesn't have a surname, so that'll work out.
What? No, he does, but what is it? We just don't know it.
They use like Windsor or
That's right.
Yeah, one of the others.
Fact that.
There was another one that they used to use, but I can't remember what it was. Sorry, I'm just trying to buy some undies while we talk.
It's very interesting to think of that, because I think of things like where there were like school reports. I did excellent at school, like until I got distracted from year 12. I got very distracted in year 12, which was like the pinnacle year to not get distracted.
Was this yours?
Yes, but you can have it if you want. But like, because they're always like, oh, can we check, look at the reports? But very much feel like things, especially in my younger years, I was very hyper focused. Like, I needed to win. As in, there would be things I remember, one of the main things I remember as a kid at school was doing things like words on string, like where they would give you like a word and you had to find all the words within that word. And I would be like,
if it was a contest, it was on.
Yeah, I was so full on about it.
Yeah.
Or like projects, just like I went full, like I was full on with it. Like and actually this probably does prove like the ADHD part because of how much of a perfectionist I was. We had to learn, like, because I went to a specialist, like a dance school for high school. Like year 7, we did ballet theory, and like I had different colored pens, like glitter pens, that we had to rewrite, like, because we'd be in class and we'd learn all this stuff and I'd have to write it all out. And if I got halfway down the page and I made a mistake, I'd throw out the page and start again and redo the whole thing.
Even today, it upsets me. I don't handwrite much because if I make a mistake, it upsets me so much every time I look at it.
That's got to be an ADHD thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, you look at the reports and it's like how excellent a student I was and how focused I was and always doing well and top scores and all this stuff. But then I look at the things like when I was at home, like things like that where I was so OCD about it. But
because you went to a specialist school, you probably had a little bit more support.
Yes, and enjoyment in what I did.
Probably look, I'm speculating, I went to a very normal people school. You probably, being a creative arts, it was probably far more tailored towards meeting everyone where they're at. Let's help a fish swim. Let's help a monkey climb a tree instead of going, you're a fish, climb the tree, which is the experience I had. Like, everyone's a different animal and trying to get all of those animals to climb the same tree and expecting that all of them can do it the same is ridiculous.
And we weren't doing subjects that I wasn't enjoying really, because we only did half the amount of academic stuff, like as in I wasn't doing like home ec, which is why I don't know how to cook. shit, or woodwork, or all that other extra
To
stuff.
be
We
fair,
did the
I
main
didn't learn to
things.
cook in home ec. It was like shortbread cookies. I'm like, great. This is nutritionally balanced lifestyle. I can make shortbread cookies and I can make muesli bars. I'm set for life. Also, I can sew a cushion. Good for me. Like, I'm set.
So I think there's probably less opportunity to be distracted and
Yeah.
in things that I wasn't interested in, because I was like, I enjoyed maths and English and other things, but then I'd have half the day of doing dance, which is I was obviously loved, and so there was less opportunity for me to be doing things that I wasn't enjoying. So that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually,
Did you have smaller class sizes? Like,
Yes.
what was your average class size?
our year 7 class had 7 dancers and 7 musicians. We had 14 people in our entire year 7 class.
So my year 7 to 10, so I moved into state when I started year 11, and so different experience. So year 7 to 10, my class sizes were 30.
Yes,
And
that's
there
what I
was
was like.
3 classes of 30.
Yeah.
And so you would switch. If you were doing like advanced math, then even though your homeroom was this group of people, you'd have a mix of all
Yes.
the others.
Yeah.
And so it was constantly different class environments with different people, different teachers, different rooms. And that was really hard. I was really smart. I am really smart. I think my intelligence gets misconstrued for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that my brain works faster than my mouth, and so I don't always put together a particularly coherent sentence. When I write, I come across and look, to people who speak to me verbally and also speak to me over text, maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, I sound much smarter when I write. I also need to work on my diction because I'm working so hard to get words out of my mouth really quickly that I I don't enunciate my T's. And I notice that when I'm streaming with you because you have very good diction.
Do I really?
And so, yes. And so I pick up on that, or just even in Discord, like movie nights, where it's just been like you, me, and Dan, and I'm like, oh man, like I sound like a bogan. And I notice it then. The other, I guess, downfall for me, I think, is that my particular area of intelligence is very specialized and doesn't come up that often. And actually, that's where this podcast is great for me because it makes me feel like I'm finally stretching that muscle.
Yeah.
And able to show people a little bit that I'm not just a dumb blonde, because I sometimes feel that way. I do feel really dumb sometimes, but it's little moments like the trivia stuff.
Yeah.
Like that makes me feel quite good. And I know that sounds, I'm not being like, look at how great I am, but it's like, I have very specific knowledge. I hold this stuff. And it's why at school, I was always really good at multiple choice, nailed multiple choice almost 100% of the time, because I'm my memory is like trigger memory. So if I'm reading, here's a question, here's the options, I will tell you the right option 99% of the time. Because I know. But if you gave me a question and I just had to blank answer it with no options,
That's
a 10.
tough. Yeah.
Some things definitely, but yeah, so I always struggled at school because of that. I was always
great at
multiple
Who
choice.
Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yes. Like, you put me on that show, I would have won. Anytime. Like, I can bullshit, but also I'm really good at, like,
Reading other people.
deduction. Like, okay, I can eliminate these 2 answers. I don't need your 50-50.
Yeah.
Like, I
You should go eliminate them, now give me the 50-50.
Yeah, I am the 50-50. Phone me. Phone me as the friend. Like, you know, I am great at those kinds of things. I'm going to trivia for the first time on Thursday. I'm so excited. I'm going to be so good at trivia.
I'm very excited to hear your outcome.
Yeah. I hope I do great because it's a date. So anyway,
But that's also very on. I'm going to get to, because I know there's a few things being said, but I'm just quickly on that. Isn't that so? I feel the same thing, that people think I'm dumb a lot of the time, but even knowing more about ADHD and the whole thing about that we lose interest real quick on something that doesn't interest us, that we have that. And I feel like some people think, oh, that's just an excuse for not paying attention, or that's just, you know, but that there's like that there's proof that that even though, like, let's call them normal people, can go, all right, this isn't that interesting to me, but I should know this, so I'm going to pay attention. We just go, I'm not interested.
Gone.
Gone.
The other thing that really is frustrating is it's like, okay, we're having a conversation. You want me to pay attention. But you, being society, not you specifically, Erin, but you want me to pay attention, but the things that I do to help me pay attention are not... Then you get mad about that. Why won't you look at me in the eye? Pay attention. And so I spend the whole time going, make sure you look at them and make sure you're blinking enough and nodding and like engaging and being reciprocal and actively listening. The way that I pay attention is to sit here fidgeting with something or being on my phone. I need to engage my ADHD bit of my brain so that my other bit of my brain can listen to you.
Yeah.
But to everyone else, that looks like rudeness. And
yeah.
I'm even aware of it on this podcast because I think that this was pointed out, and you know, I think we were talking about this the other day, and your mum and Simon both said that you're quite fidgety.
Which I'm like...
I think I am way more fidgety than you.
Yeah.
I see you sit there and just sit. If I did that, I would lose my mind. If
I'm
not
totally
moving in some way, I will actually go crazy. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's very upsetting to me to not have like some sort of stim going on, to not be stimming in some way. I bite the inside of my cheek, or I sit and like pick at my nails, or I like play with something. I cannot sit still. And so that combination, it's very frustrating because it's like the things, and I think this impacts a lot of kids at school, and I guess applies to the younger generation. The things that I do to listen and focus look to everyone else like rudeness.
Yeah.
I wear my AirPods when I work. To everyone in the office, it's like, well, why did you come to the office to work if you're not willing to talk to anyone? It's like, no, that's drowning out. 90% of the time, I'm not even playing music on my AirPods when I'm at work. It just drowns out just a little bit.
Other people's typings, doors closing, opening, the aircon.
The aircon, pipes running,
things.
The construction that's going on in my office right now, which is like...
The printer probably going off.
It's just mental. So it's really frustrating that it's like, listen to me, but don't do any of the things that help you listen. Good luck. Okay, well, no, I'm not going to be able to pay attention to you because I can't do any of the things that help me pay attention because you think that they're rude.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the case in school, and I think we always used to see this was, you know, don't scribble while I'm teaching, stop writing in your book while I'm teaching, stop doing this, stop fiddling. And it's like, great, you've just taken away the resources that child has to help them learn.
Yeah.
And that was my experience in school, and it's my experience now. I still find it very, very difficult to listen. It's either listen or look like I'm listening. There's no in between.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting there nodding or just like generally, you know, not engaging, and I'm not able to do any of my listening things, I'm not listening. Ever.
You're making me so aware of it right now because I'm watching me just like on all the things that the little things that I do.
But I don't notice it because I do it.
Yeah.
It's like everything like, but I also like if there's a hair on my face or something, it might as well be someone with a saw like sawing my face off. For like, how upsetting. I can't sit like that. But then most people would just wait until the appropriate moment. But if that's happening, I can't listen to anything else. And so I deal with it at the time because otherwise I'm gone for like the next half an hour until I have a moment. All I'm thinking is, when can I get out of here and fix this thing that's upsetting me? Like, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Like with us going to the bathroom, it's like if I need to pee, that's the only thing I'm thinking about until I can go. And that's why I'm just like, hold everything. I'm just going to, because then I can give you my full attention.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, and you're getting none of my attention. And that's not fair. So I'm very aware of it. And it makes me very self-conscious.
Yeah.
That I'm like, everyone is watching me, and I'm just sitting here like scratching my face or biting my cheeks or picking at my fingers, trying to get an eyelash out of my eye, like just anything. It's so upsetting.
Yeah. And getting that, you know, if people are like, oh, you're not paying attention, you're like, yes, I am. Well, what did I say? And then you just recite everything. They're like, well, like, exactly. Sit down.
Exactly. I heard all of it. I just heard it my way. Intense. I actually think that helps us draw back into the topic of transitions because what they've said is if you're watching something you're into and then someone places tea or coffee near you, do you not process what they did and said? My answer is no. I don't. That's part of the transition thing, right? It was something I really wanted to talk about because what I've said is meals, meds, and water. it's a big thing. It's a big topic of discussion in our friendship right now, is eating, drinking, and taking our medication. It's something that for both of us is really hard.
Yep.
What have I eaten today, you ask? Half of a cheese biscuit that my friend made, which was delicious, and this cup of tea.
And it's very...
And a Nescafe Blend 43, because I went to get coffee this morning and I got stuck in the city and then I couldn't get my coffee. And so I drove very angrily to my friend's house and was like, please tell me you have coffee. And she was like, I have Blend 43. And I went, that'll do.
Whatever it is.
Just caffeinate me or I'm going to murder someone.
And the other thing on that point as well is that how frustrating it is when someone interrupts us when we're so that focused. It's like, I don't hear anything I'm saying, but then... And poor Simon has to deal with it probably a lot. And it's like the constant, like if someone's trying to ask me a question or do something and I'm so into that thing, I don't hear them. But then they're like, if I then all of a sudden it's constant, then I'm like, eventually they do interrupt and it does break my focus. And I'm like, now how am I going to get back into that thing? It's the frustration that I get when I'm interrupted, when I'm in such in that kind of focus, or I'm doing something. And understandably, sometimes it's not the appropriate time for me to be doing whatever it is that I'm focused on. But disconnecting me from that thing is like the end of the world to me.
And that's because your hyperfixation or your hyperfocus is giving you dopamine.
Yeah.
So someone coming in and interrupting you is essentially like taking booze off of a drunk, you know, like...
Or like taking a toy away from the baby and they're like,
going, you're done, good luck.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, because this is helping. Like, I'm feeling okay and I rarely feel okay. And so how dare you? It's the same. I really, like I said, I struggle with transitions. For me, that's the hardest part of my day is I never go to bed on time.
Yeah.
Because I really struggle to go from sitting here to getting into bed and then going from scrolling on my phone in bed to going to sleep. But then in the morning, I struggle to get out of bed because I'm comfy and I want to sleep more, even though I may have really, I have a really hard time getting to sleep. So I may have spent 4 hours trying to get to sleep, but now that it's 7 o'clock in the morning and I have to go do life, I could sleep till 2. I struggle to get out of bed and then get into the shower. And then when I'm in the shower, I'm like, this is the best. I love the shower. I don't want to get out of the shower.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to leave. But then if I'm at the office, even though I might be done for the day, the idea of getting back in the car and driving home is really hard.
And during peak,
and it just
traffic.
repeats.
Yeah.
And so those transitions are really, really tricky for me. And meds, meals, and water fall into that because I have to stop the thing that I'm doing momentarily and hear my body's cues. And with medication, I actually find that dulls some of those cues from my body to go, you're thirsty, you're hungry, or whatever. And so I forget to eat or drink all day. For me, that's been my self-improvement thing for this year, is getting some water. Good night, Valkyrie.
I saw Valkyrie and I was like, oh. But can we just quickly, because I saw Valkyrie wrote a big thing earlier and we haven't touched on it, and if they're going to head off, so I just quickly want to address it. Whenever I get snappy about little things, I find I have a quiet undercurrent of mood triggering that snappiness. It's a definite biochemical imbalance and I can't stop myself from being snappy about stuff while that imbalance is in effect. I have to wait it out. Sounds like Erin's meds are counteracting a similar imbalance, which is why outside observers say she seems happier, because anyone will be happier when no longer weighed down by the same kind of dark undercurrent that I get in. Interesting. Yeah. Could be very well be too.
Yeah.
Mel, anything on that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, yeah, it could be. I think it's more overstimulation. You're not as stimulated because there's less things running through your brain at once. And so those little things aren't acting like big things. That's my perception with you. And that's certainly my experience with ADHD meds. But I think there's part of it, right? There's lots of things that impact ADHD and how meds interact. So it's hard to know. Yeah, it's definitely something to discuss with your psych.
Yeah. If you're, we would get into that one. Sorry, I have a friend with Jonah says a friend with ADHD has found that it's easier to let them finish when they're focused than to interrupt.
Or set like hey, can we have a chat in 10 minutes? Because that allows us time to wrap a task. And I think that's really helpful for kids as well. Instead of going, all right, 5 minutes and then you've got to be done. It's a bit of negotiation of, okay, well, you think about a kid with a video game,
Yeah.
right? And you're going, finish up in 5 minutes. Then like, well, I actually need 10 minutes to finish this thing or I'm losing 30 minutes of progress.
Yeah.
But most parents would just go, no, 5 minutes, that's it. As opposed to it being a bit of a negotiation. Hey, could I talk to you in a couple of minutes? Yeah, look, this is going to take me 10 to 15. Do you mind if we do it at 2:30? Done. That's how I do all of my planning in my day, is a bit of a negotiation. And I think that's very normal in the corporate world to go, do you have time to go over something? And I go, yeah, I've got some free time here. And if I can plan for that coming, easy. And it is. It's the half-hour warning or the, like, giving a couple. Can I talk to you when you have a sec? Yeah, okay, give me 10 and I'll be with you. And that just lets you wrap up and come down instead of it being just like a drop.
Yeah. Parent says,
That's my experience.
Parent says something that's, Sign knows to wait for you to finish. Not always. I've noticed him doing it during the streams. He waits for his moments.
But that's hard too because sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not an option and that's okay. Like, our needs are not more important than the needs of, well, your needs are not more important than the needs of Simon.
Yes.
And so sometimes he will have to interrupt you. But it's about that being perceptive of it, that if it's not an urgent thing, can we, how to manage that in a way that doesn't trigger you to not be perceptive to it at all because you're frustrated. And that's hard, while also respecting that he needs things too.
Yes. I mean, that's one of those things that it's like, but I notice, and it's one of those things where I pick up on those things, those transitions in his body language, where I can tell that he's getting like irritated or something, or he wants to say something, and I'm like, just say it, no.
But then he also knows that if he just interrupts, that it's going to upset you. So he can't win. I can see Simon, which makes this better.
You should have seen his face, you guys. He's like, but it's like, because I see him and I'm like, and I get frustrated at that because he's just going like, and I'm like, what is it? What is it? I can tell you're getting frustrated. You need, yeah.
Right, so it's hard because if he interrupts you, then you're going to be frustrated. But if he wants to interrupt you and is choosing not to because he knows that that'll be better for you, then it looks like he's hovering like an anxious helicopter mum at a park. And you know mum's about to tell you it's time to go home, so you run as far away from her as possible. Am I wrong though? No, Simon gives the shake of the head. I'm always right. We've been through this. Mel's always right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I really struggle with the self-care things. I don't so much have an issue with that because I don't have a partner anymore, but it was one of the downfalls of our relationship. I couldn't cope with it. He didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I found it very difficult because I was constantly interrupted and needed like a mum.
Yeah.
And I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's why I have cats instead of kids. I can't. My mental health would not cope with having a baby. I'd be okay with a baby. I would not be okay with anything that could speak. Yeah. And not let me pee in peace. A baby I could do. I couldn't do a child. I would not cope mentally.
But wouldn't you be like stressed that, because that part of me is why when I get so stressed about Alex, he can't communicate what's wrong. That would be the same in a baby, wouldn't you think? Like, because like I'm like, what do you need? What do you want? Are you just having a sook, or is there something actually wrong and I don't know what it is? But I have a meltdown over that.
We become perceptive to that though.
Yeah.
You can tell when Hartley's just putting it on. You learn their language. Yeah, we can't communicate, but you have ways of telling me things.
Yeah, that's true.
That, I will know if I pay enough attention.
Yeah.
And same with the baby. Yes, I'd be worried, but it's actually when they, like, I wouldn't be able to cope with not having any regulation time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be okay with that. But all that to say is that, yeah, my intuitive self... Can you hear that?
But there's Garfield.
It's not Garfield. It's the foster kittens. I guarantee you, here's my speculation. The soap dispenser is no longer on my bathroom sink. And the toilet paper will no longer be on the roll. I'm trying to think what else was on the bathroom bench, and I think it would have just been the hand soap being knocked into the sink or the floor. And maybe maybe like my toothbrush and toothpaste. I'll see you later. It's a fun surprise. It's like a Kinder surprise, except it's my bathroom and the state of my home. One of the current 7 cats, yes. So, yeah, they're all gone, which means that there's maximum chaos happening everywhere else.
I now really want to know what it was.
No, the new kitties do not like me yet. They hate me still. I did catch them here. I've got a cute photo though.
Are they going through their like teenage years at this point?
No, they're still babies. It's
Still
just because they were strays that humans are scary.
They're like,
Here they were on my bed earlier, obviously, with Garfield.
cute. Is that
Crumpet and Bagel.
Thank you. I named
Yes.
them.
You did. I love that Crumpet is a perfect little clone of Garfield. It's like, I love it when that happens. I had that happen with August, who was one of my fosters, and he was a clone of Oscar. And so it was like that meme of don't speak to me or my son ever again. And I think the Instagram caption I used was don't speak to me or my son's son ever again. And it was just a photo of Oscar and August.
Cute.
August still looks like Oscar, except he's not fat like Oscar. We have a problem in this house. When you foster kittens, kitten food is about 4 times the amount of calories, and my cats go crazy for it. There are things they will do. I didn't tell my Westgate Bridge story.
Oh no, please do. But I just want to quickly read Valkyrie's thing. I recognise
Yes.
that Aran current.
Current.
An Aran current.
Is that a type of juice?
Yep. That undercurrent in myself now, after years of observation and experience, noticing and comparing myself in different moments, the hormonal, biochemical variations that happen in my body can change the way you think dramatically. Yeah. The changes in that thought caused by a slight difference in hormones are often misinterpreted by people as genuine event-triggered thoughts, but they're not. Depression makes you believe nobody cares about you. Caffeine makes you think you're not tired.
Yeah.
I have so many hormonal imbalances.
Yeah. me too.
PCOS.
Yeah.
I have
It's
PCOS.
hard. You wouldn't be able to sit through it. You'd want to get up and see. Yeah. You see, it happens to me so many times at 2 a.m, and I have to decide whether I value sleep more or my bathroom more, and I've made that decision for myself. But also, I don't want to get up and walk out there because I'm wearing pajama pants, and what you don't all need to see is the dress that I'm wearing tucked into a pair of PJ pants.
Mel. Why would you do that to me?
You can see it after hours.
Okay. Says who? Double
New
dummy.
pajamas, they're comfy. I got new pajamas today again.
I know.
It's a real problem. I don't know what size I am anymore. That's the hard thing, is like the body dysphoria that comes with like losing a lot of weight. I don't know what size I'm in anymore, and like women's clothes. No, there would be no pajama reveal. You get to see the pajamas if you come to our movie nights.
How much will it be for a pajama reveal? How much for a pajama reveal? Melanie, how much for a pajama reveal?
Did you just Melanie me?
I did.
I'm not comfortable with it.
How much for
I
a
would
pajama
do a pajama
reveal?
reveal for $1,000 if you also put your pajamas on for $1,000.
I'll put my pajamas. I got no problem. I'm half the time I'm rocking up in
This
my pajamas.
podcast turns into a pajama stream for $1,000.
To Mel's channel. It's Mel Bean.
I don't love that bit. Size matters, double dummy. They lied to you. I'm so sorry.
Oops. It's very loud.
I did see Simon's interest peaked when I said that. Erin would do it for 100. Well, you know.
Excuse me. Sorry, pardon me.
I won't do a lot of things for less than $1,000. I still have my shoeginity, and I'm really proud of that.
I'm not impressed with that. How much
well.
for a shoey?
I don't have any shoes that would work for shoeies.
Not important.
Dan, help me.
Listen, I got my mum to agree to a level... What level did she say?
Okay, but that's like thousands of dollars. That would be like 1,000 subscriptions.
I'm a bit disappointed she didn't go lower. Where were we at?
$4,000 for a shoey, minimum. 100 grand for a shoey is your price. I'd do it for like no less than $2,000.
I'm devastated that I did it, that I agree. I was so convinced I'd win this bet. Oh, that's why I put it on the line. And I lost. And I'm like, oh. It was like, there's nothing that broke my soul more than that moment. Because all it would take, like, I didn't even get money out of that situation. That was very upsetting.
Yeah. See, that's why I won't do it for unless it's me or someone I care.
Bad move.
Like, all of my forfeits, it's either for my benefit or for you or Dan, and that's it. Like, when it comes to the internet, there is no one else. Oh, Richard, I would. Where I will sacrifice my own happiness and well-being, even if it is just a shoey. You are the only people I will do it for.
Yeah, it hurts.
I do realise I would do it for 2,000 because then we would be able to do the chip and beer stream. And I'd start it with a beer shoey, and then I would be alright.
Shoes can be obtained, Jonas
I need
said.
a lot of chips to cope with it. So, yeah, transitions, right?
Yeah.
One of the
See,
points...
it's such an ADHD thing. See how quick we get distracted. Boom.
We do. We always get back. We always come back.
We try, yeah.
Baby got back.
Yep.
Comfy.
What you don't see.
What you don't see pajamas? I want what you don't see PJs.
I do. Because it's like what you don't see. It's kind of like an mantra.
Except I do see before every one of these streams. Did you know that What You Don't See podcasts come with a complimentary flash show beforehand?
If you're a guest, if you end up being
If
a
you're a
guest on the
guest.
show, you will
Get some
see what people don't see.
You will. Not on me. I come pre-dressed usually.
I'm
I
usually
tend to
still
have
running
far
around in
more
my
clothes on
underwear.
at most times than Erin.
And it'll be difficult from this, especially from this, because like you'll just probably see me run past the hall in my undies.
No, I won't. If I'm here and you're in your undies, you will walk in and twerk at me.
That's true. Actually,
It
That's
is
very
true.
I'm pretty sure I just did it. I just dropped my pants because of the point that I was like, oh, you haven't seen me in my undies today yet.
That was for Dan.
Daniel.
We really are all sister wives, aren't we?
Mercury says, I love her in stream so much. I don't know why, but I do. Well, because.
Because we're here.
Because we're fun.
One of the things we were talking about earlier around the sort of transitions of remembering to drink and hydrate, and
Which I don't do
eat
very
and
well at
those
all.
things, is around reminders to do those things, because we had a little bit of a discussion about that. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, because of that I just go, the reminders.
So it's interesting because it's a fragile thing, and I think I don't think it's something that just anyone can do for you. I think there needs to be there's a couple of reasons that it can go wrong, right? I think the first one is that if someone is telling you to do it and they want you to do it right now, and you're in the middle of something, it can become almost resentful.
Yes.
And I'm not going to do it out of spite because you're frustrating me. The second bit I really struggle with is sometimes when you have low self-worth, for me it's like, well, I don't deserve. Oh, I'm getting a headache because I'm dehydrated. Well,
That's
should.
my own fault.
That's my own fault, but also I'm not going to fix it because I deserve to feel miserable and sick and, and to struggle with my ADHD by not taking my meds. I think another part of it is, like you kind of spoke about this around feeling like you're disappointing someone, so I'll let you speak on that, maybe.
Verimet said something, demand avoidant reminders. Yeah. That's highly stressful for me. Is where I like get the reminder and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I got to do that, but I'm doing in the middle of something and oh fuck, I'll do it later, and then I get so stressed over the fact that, which kind of ties into what I'm about to go into. I get so stressed at the fact that I bloody forgot, and then it's a constant thing with me every day, almost every day. I forget to take my second lot of meds, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm
good in the morning, but not the afternoon.
Simon's good in the morning.
For a reminder, I need a person reminder, and that's really hard because I don't want to expect that of anyone. That's not anybody's job. It's more a care thing, and it's very sweet when people do it, when it's the right person. However, I find that if I'm being reminded by a device or by, a system, it doesn't hold the same levity. When it's a person reminding me, I'm like, I don't want to disappoint that person but also I've spent a lot of my life without anybody in my life who would ever care so much as to care that I'm okay on a very innate, basic level. You know, I've had some friendships, and even not necessarily all the time, like the very long period in my life where I didn't have this at all, but even the friendships that I had up until sort of the last 12 months or so, people worried if there was like a big, like, it's like if I'm in a crisis, there's going to be people there for me, but there weren't people who cared to the extent that they would care if I had water that day, or if I take my meds, because they know how much that helps me. And so the levity of that is that I know how much that means to me, but also it's a reminder that someone cares about me, which I think sometimes is more impactful than than what it's about. It's just the fact that someone thought of me and wanted to make sure I'm okay. And that was an easy way to do it, and something that sort of speaks my love language, which is sort of those acts of service or words of affirmation, because I'm a very anxious person, and those two things are very affirming for me. So I find it much more impactful when it's a person who's taking the time. And obviously they can't do that 4 times a day. We've had this giggle about having a friend robot to do it. But, you know, that's not practical.
No, Jonah.
It is very much. It is the valuing of my existence. I think it's just the kind of friendship that has a base to it that means that someone cares if I'm hydrated, which is a very, you know, like, in the scheme of things, if I'm hydrated is not the world's biggest concern right now. Like, people are going through real shit. Yeah. But it's just like, I've thought about you and want to make sure you're okay. And that's something that's really wild to me, because it's not something I've experienced a lot. I get that it's a fundamental need, but it's not someone else's responsibility. Yeah. No one has any responsibility to me to do that. And so when they do, I find it means a lot to me. It really does.
What's a Maslow's hierarchy?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you've got your basic, like, you can't ascend, so it's a pyramid. Yeah. And at the top of the pyramid is like self-actualization. And then you have things like social needs, like friendship. Yep. But at the bottom of the hierarchy is like food, water, shelter. And it's like, if you don't have those things, you can't really get to the next
level.
With like, so it's just various levels of needs, and you can't get to the next level of need without having achieved.
Thanks for following, Chelsea.
The latter ones, the formal ones.
Yeah.
You should never feel like you deserve bad things. No, but that's kind of one of those sort of mental illness caveats, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's it's almost it comes down to things like where it is a symptom of depression. It's a depressive symptom thing as well. And I know that, just digressing a little, that I was diagnosed with major depression and have been for a long time, which is probably one of the worst depressions you can have, that and smiling depression. And it's that constant, what's the word? I lost myself. I went off. I went somewhere. I don't know where I went.
Depression.
Depression. The depending on your experiences and what you've gone through, probably a lot of it to do with because of the industry that I am in and have been in, and the constant, especially in the dancing industry, like, that I grew up in, not as a result of my parents, but as a result of me being, 6 and all I wanted to ever do was dance, and growing up in high school at that pinnacle age of hormonal development, everything being about how you looked, being everything about what shouldn't matter in society, but it does in that industry, how you look, how you feel, how your weight, are you tall enough, are you short enough, are you all of those things, and constantly not getting work because of something that's not, like, I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm too brown hair, I've got short hair, I've got too long hair, too this. All of those things have, like, caused such severe anxiety and negativity in my internal monologue that, and where probably undiagnosed, like depression, like what has been found out that now my depression has probably been a result of an undiagnosed ADHD rather than being diagnosed with depression. And that's what I have. It's depression has been the result of the ADHD, and having not that treated, it's caused all these problems. And so the internal monologue that I've constantly gone through over has said, you know, I've reacted in certain ways that people have probably said, oh, you're a psycho, you're this, you're that, you know. And so I've almost intentionally done those things and gone, well, I'm expecting them to leave, so I may as well push that even harder and see if they stay. Because if they care enough, they'll stay. If they don't care, they'll leave. And then, of course, as soon as they leave, it's all about, well, it's your own fault. I've done this. It's my fault. It's all of the self-deprecating. Is that the right? That's not the right word, is it?
Defecating. Is
Deprecating.
not the right word. Deprecating. Please don't self-defecate.
Only in a safe, in a bathroom, and make sure you sanitize and wash your hands. That's something that I can't control. You try and control it. I try and tell myself, no, it's not me. But it's always that other one that's like you can't just stop thinking that way. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You go, well, if I'm going to act like this, then they're going to leave. I guarantee, like all of those things. Or I'm not going to, even to the point of where it's like the ADHD comes into the point of going, I want something so badly, but I'm so stressed about it. So what happens if I prepare myself so well, I go for that job and I don't get it? What's that going to say about my talent or me as a human being, that I'm not deserving of getting that? So I may as well not fucking bother. And then it gets to like, I'm up till 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm not getting any sleep, and then I go to that audition and I fuck it up. And I'm like, well, self-fulfilling prophecy, I fucked it up, I'm not going to get the job anyway. So at least I'm not getting the job because I fucked it up, and I have to blame myself for that rather than not getting the job even though I worked really hard, because that's the one that broke me. When I went for the audition for Chicago, and I knew I was one of the best in the room, I should have gotten put through, and I prepared for a full month because that's one of my Chicago is one of my all-time favorite musicals. I worked so hard to prepare for the audition, went in, got cut first round, shouldn't have, but that's a whole other thing. Probably, you know, that whole industry is fucked because they legally have to have auditions, despite even if they know who they want to cast, they legally have to hold auditions. So you've got all these people coming in with hopes to get shattered. I walked out of the audition and was like, I'm fucking done. I bawled my eyes out, and I never really cry if I'm like get cut. I'm like, well, it is what it is. At that point, I was done. I'm like, I tried so fucking hard and prepared so well, and I did so well in the audition, and I still got cut. What the fuck is wrong with me? Like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like, and that was the result. I got so broken because I prepared so hard and got cut. So I had, I can't really blame myself. All I have to do is look back at myself and go, well, maybe I'm not. And then I started becoming, well, maybe I'm just not that good. I'm not very good. All of those things that came up, rather than going, well, you didn't prepare, it's your own fault. So it's a
so
really
hard.
Yeah.
I mean, all of social anxiety is ADHD, and it stems back, like, this sort of story that you've just told, I guess, starts, you know, for you in school and in dance. And it's interesting because that was always my experience too, as someone who wasn't in that, but went to an all-girls school.
That's interesting.
Is that I can tell you that every bully was a dancer or a gymnast. All of them. There was so much rooted insecurity in that industry
100%.
that flowed out of it and impacted people who weren't in it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the body of this tiny little petite gymnast girl. And so she's going to believe me for it because her industry is telling her that she can't look like me. And therefore, I must be so wrong.
Yeah.
And so the combo of that plus me having ADHD led to, like, I was bullied incessantly.
Yeah.
Like, I will trigger warning, but I tried to take my life at 14 years old. No 14-year-old should be having those kind of, you know, I was so depressed because I had no friends. I had no one. Until university. I had no, like, my oldest friend is like maybe 3 years because my life uprooted and I was so all over the place. But it's probably a lie, and I'm very sorry if I've just offended an old friend who I've forgotten about. But nonetheless, someone's out there like, what the fuck, man? Thought we were friends. No, I can't think of any. It's fine. I'll hear about this later. But yeah, Anyway, I'm just trying to think. I really am worried I've upset someone. The point stands. That's all of my social anxiety is just high school
Yeah.
and stems through. But now it impacts even my success. And you kind of touched on this earlier around like awards and coping really well with promotions. And I've been really lucky. I've not been turned down for a job at my company. I've had 3 promotions in the last 12 months, and everything I've gone for, I've gotten. But even then, I still go in with 0 expectation.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm happy where I am. If I don't get this, that's okay. Like, but even when I get it, I still don't get that satisfying feeling that people get when they get these things.
Okay.
You know, I get an award, and in my head, I'm like, they're only giving this to you because they haven't seen how much of a shit show you are. You're just very good at making it look like you're very good at your job. It's not, oh, I'm good at my job, or I'm smart, or I've worked really hard to get here. It's, they just don't know. If they knew what I was really like, they would never do this. Look at all of these examples that I can just pull straight out of my brain of when I am shit. And so I'm looking at them above my computer. Like, I've got them put up because I am proud of them. Like, I work really, really hard, but I still never get that feeling of satisfaction because it's clouded by self-doubt that has just been from day dot. My monologue does need questioning, but there's nothing you can do about it very much. That's the point, is that beyond all this work and all of the work I've done in therapy for myself, I still have that underlying voice that I cannot ever get rid of.
Yeah.
That tells me everyone hates me, that tells me I'm not good enough, that tells me if people really knew what I was like, they'd want nothing to do with me. And so it's when those, like, kind of like we discussed earlier, where you do sort of have a talk to someone about what you're going through, it's that, like, if they really knew what I was like, they wouldn't like me. And so when I start to show what I'm really like, I get the anxiety of, this is it. They're not going to like me anymore. Because now they know that I'm broken and messy and depressed and anxious and not normal. And that's it. They're going to hate me now.
Yeah.
And then you have all of these examples that you remember, because we remember the negatives because we're pessimists, that just, it's that same confirmation bias. It's the, well, that person, they were like, you know, if I had $1 for every person who was like, I'm not going to leave you, and I go, that's what they all say, and then they go, not me, I'm going to be the one this time. None of them have ever been the one.
Yeah.
Not one time. Not one. Yeah, you know what I mean, though.
I do,
okay,
I know.
But, like, there's still time, Erin. Run.
Listen. You listen here, all right?
But I will say...
I bet you a shoey.
But you and I are also the same person.
Exactly, yeah.
You're the first person I've met, and I've said this to you, but you're the first person I've met where I'm like, I feel like I can be completely 100% transparent with you.
Yeah.
Because every single thing that we talk about, it's like, oh yeah, I've had that. Or even if it's not identical, it's similar enough that I don't sound mental.
Yeah.
So I can just be me, and I don't have to think too much.
Yeah.
And so I don't get so caught up in my head, but also I think you're different in that I feel very comfortable that if, you know, like, it happens occasionally where I'm like, when I said this, I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you that. With other people, and most people, I won't do that. I'll just go, fuck, this is how they've read that. And if I clarify it, I'm just going to be digging a hole.
Yeah.
Like, so just move on and just disappear for a few days and hope they've all forgotten. Like, you got embarrassed at a work event, and you're like, I'm just going to hope that they forget over the weekend. You know, like, I don't have to do that with you.
Yeah.
I can call you and have a cry, and that's the difference. But it's still that case of, like, every person who's ever promised me that they, and that's the thing, you haven't promised it either, so you haven't been like, I'm never gonna leave, I'll never let go, Jack. You know, like, you just do it. But every person who has ever told me they would never leave me has. So why would I believe the next person?
I don't believe in making promises.
It would be that would be stupid of me, in theory, to have had a 99% failure rate and believe that the next one's going to be the one.
Yeah.
That would just be, like, that makes no sense in my little autistic logical brain.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to constantly be fighting those pieces of self-doubt and, like, no one likes me, no one cares enough to want to know that I'm really struggling. And certainly I'm not, even now, to anyone, the person who will go, I'm really struggling, I just need someone to be here for me. I won't do it. Never. There's not a chance. I will not ask for help. I can't ask for help. I don't have that in me.
I think
will
you and I have
state how I'm feeling and hope that someone reads between the lines.
Yeah.
And then be really disappointed and upset and heartbroken when they don't.
Yeah.
But I'll never explicitly ask for help because then I feel like I've cornered someone and I'm not good enough for them to be cornering them.
It's the thing I think I've struggled the biggest with when it comes to that, and this is digressing just a little, but it's worth discussing because humans just should have more empathy, I guess. I feel like we all started with it, and somewhere along the line it got lost. And I think it's a lot of a society. It's just the disposable friendships, and that's why. Look, let's be honest. That's what I wrote Human about. It's the disposable relationships and disposable manufactured. What looks good on social media, or what looks, it's like, it's the fact that I feel like people. If you're my friend and you're in my life, like you should care enough or know me enough or care about me as a human enough as a friend to, if I've said something's happened to me, your reaction should be, what can I, would just be come over. When people say, it's a really hard thing because people offer, oh, whatever you need, I'll be there for you. But then they don't really mean it. And I know we've one of the things we've touched on before.
This is why I get so shitty about Are You Okay Day.
Yes, me too.
Because no one means it because they're not there when I need them to be.
Exactly. It's that I'm just going to put a social post up and say it, but I never actually follow through. It's like people offer things and then you take them, they don't never expect you to take them up on it. But then when they do, it's like, oh, I can't because of XYZ. It's like, why the fuck are you offering then? Don't pretend like you're my friend, or don't pretend you're in my life or you're going to do this when you're just making yourself feel better, like you're actually off. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think breaks me the most, because if someone did that to me, I'd probably be like, what do you need? But I'd just be there. You just pick up the phone, you call. That's all is it that much to expect that, hey, I'm going through a tough time, or that people would pick up the phone and go, do you want to chat? Can I come over and I'll come over and do this. Not even the question, it's the I'm coming over or I'm doing this. Don't ask, just do, because a lot of the time most people will be like, no, I'm fine. People are not fine. And that's when you if you give a shit enough about somebody, you can pick up if they're going through a tough time, just take the initiative and go and do. We don't do enough. And that's my biggest problem, why I probably burnt friendships, is because at a point when I was just like, you know what? I've called you and I've invested in you. I've divulged, even when it comes to divulging yourself, you might call and you talk to somebody and you tell them your problems because you expect that they're going to confide, that they give enough of a shit about you and trust you enough that they're going to confide their shit in you. So people might go, you just talk about yourself all the time. It's like, well, because I want to tell you about what's going on with me, and what you when somebody else doesn't confide in you the same way.
It's like, I don't think that you trust them.
Yes, and that's when you go, they're the people that aren't going to just go, I'm there, whatever you need, I'll come over. And that's what probably burns us a lot, is particularly with females with ADHD, is with the all internal, and women probably in general.
And that's it. And I think you and I would say, we're fairly good at reading. You're very good at that. It's the thing of where that trust has now been shown enough that it's like, you can call me. Or I can call you. And we were talking about this earlier, where I called you earlier and you couldn't answer. And it's like, I'm never going to go, Erin doesn't want to talk to me. I'm going, Erin's busy. It's fine. She'll call me back later. And you did. Yeah. But there's now that trust where it's like, I can just call you without booking it in beforehand and know that if you can answer, you will. Yeah. But, you're also perceptive on my very little cues for when I'm not doing well. I'll be like, I'll use the example of the hot dog thing, right? Where I'm like, I really want a cup of tea and I just don't have enough money to go to the shop. And what I'm saying is I'm being lazy, but what is actually happening is if I go to a supermarket, I'm going to have a meltdown. But I really just want a fucking cup of tea because that's my ritual. And what did you do? You sent milk to my house along with toilet paper and hot dogs.
Well, I tried fucking not burgers, but apparently there were none there and they substituted it for freaking hot dogs.
10 bags. I bought so many. It's fine.
Oh, well, that was just so for those who don't know, this happened, and Mel was like, I don't have milk. That's what it was, because you didn't have milk to make a tea.
I was out of milk, and I live less than half a block from a Coles.
And she was like, I
it is a
can't.
2-minute walk. But that Coles, after 4 p.m., when everyone finishes work, it's sensory hell. And I know that if I go in there, I will have a meltdown. And so I was just like, I want a cup of tea because that is my evening ritual and that will make me feel a little bit better after this really shit day because I'm having a really hard time. But I know that if I'm in a place where if I leave my house, I will have a full breakdown.
So
I said to Erin was, I'm being lazy and can't be fucked getting milk.
And I said,
what is actually happening is I'm in crisis.
And so I'm like, I got this. And she's like, no, don't. I'm just being lazy. I'm like, I know what that means. So I ordered her some milk for an Uber Eats. But then just because as I was scrolling through, it's like, do you also want this? And there was a special on a 20 roll of 3-ply toilet rolls. And I was like,
36.
Was it 36?
36.
You can never have enough toilet paper. So I was like, well, that's fun. So I'm like, you're going to use that. And it's funny. That'll give her a giggle. So I added the toilet paper to the delivery.
And then you tried to add some of my favorite burgers, but the guy couldn't find burgers. And so he simply gave me hot dogs. Couldn't do veggie burgers and thought that hot dogs would do the trick. And we didn't even complain because then he was so sweet when he delivered it. He's like,
It's okay.
I couldn't find these, so I got the others. I hope you like them. And I was like, he was too nice. I'm like, you know what? I'll find a use for the hot dogs.
Yeah.
It was very, very sweet. But it's things like that.
I just thought, that'll make her giggle. That'll give her a bit of a laugh.
And it did.
The toilet paper.
And it was just, it's the little stuff, like, just, that's constantly how my brain is thinking. And this is where you nearly, like, what kind of upset me a minute ago is that that's constantly what my brain is doing. My brain is 24/7. What can I do to make someone else, like, I'm constantly thinking of other people. Are they okay? I hope they're well. I should message that person. What can I do to make them feel better? Like, when we've spoken, over the line and, like, you're not feeling great. I'm like, what can I, like, send you some dodgy $7 trivia cards that cost more, that the postage costs more for the cards, like, because they were on clearance and I get a discount.
Did I actually probably play? I know I put a post up. Did I not? Please tell me I emailed. Fuck, did we not say thank you, Mel, for the
You thanked me. I'm sure you thanked me multiple times, but also you don't have to thank me. I just knew that, like, they would be a bit of fun and extend you were enjoying trivia. And it's things like that. Like, this was a $6 mug. I know, I know because I know where they came from and I sell them. But anyway.
It was gold.
But the fact that it's personal, like, that stuff means so much to me because I spend so much of my life, all of my life, really, thinking about, I just care so much.
Yeah.
I have so much care. And this is where I'm going to get emotional because this is where I get emotional. Is just like all I ever want is just someone to care just as much about me as I do about everyone else.
I feel like you're saying all the things I've said before. I've, like, you're like, what's the word? Pre-me? No. Like, it's like I'm looking back at myself in you. Keep going, because it's lovely.
That's really it. It's just all I ever want is someone to care a little bit about me in the same way that I do about everyone else. I find it really hard because that rarely happens, and that's when I find social stuff really exhausting because I give so much. Yeah. And so often don't get a whole lot back. And that's really
hard to deal with.
Like, grapple with. It's, exhausting at times.
Do I have to send you some toilet paper?
Were you just looking for a tissue? I'm not in your house, Erin. I'm really famously not. I'm okay.
I was gonna be like, do I have to send you some tissues now?
I'll get one of my rolls of toilet paper. I should get a little toilet paper dispenser for my office.
Well, they're 3-ply, I think. I'm pretty sure they were the 3-ply. Were they 3-ply?
It was the superior toilet paper brand. I was impressed.
Good. Excellent.
I will have to pack them to my new house, maybe, if I'm not homeless in 2. Anyway. But yeah, so it's like, that's the thing that I find really, really hard, is that I care so much and I'm constantly thinking of other people, and very few people have ever, what?
Sorry, I was listening to you, but I was also going to say that they sent someone ramen in the mail. 5 packs were $1 each. The postage was $25. Sorry, keep going.
That's amazing. No, I love that. But it's the thought of things. I don't care how much. Like, I just want to do that stuff for people, and it's
100%.
I don't know. There's just, I'm always looking for a need that I can fill. I'm not big on birthday or Christmas presents because I give little things throughout the year. I'm like, where can I fill a need for something? Like the trivia cards. I'm like, you're running out of trivias and you're really enjoying and having fun. So I can fill that need. That's a little thing that I can do that'll bring you a lot of joy.
Yeah.
So I'm not big on Christmas or birthday presents, but little things like that. It's just like, where has someone demonstrated a need that they won't fill for themselves that I can, and it won't cost me much. It's not, those are all the things I'm always really perceptive of. And that's, I just, it's rare to find reciprocity in that. Yeah. And that's probably like one of the hardest things for me emotionally. What are you doing? Your hand's up to no good.
That's a legit word. Wow.
What?
Reciprocity. I'm like, well done. That's.
Sometimes I'm smart.
Reciprocity.
Please tell me it's a real word.
No, it definitely is. The practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit, especially privileges granted by one country or an organisation to another.
That's me. I'm a residing nation.
But I'm like, I would have thought reciprocity.
Yeah.
Reciprocate.
It's like the
Reciprocity.
reciprocating.
Hang on. Shh, you shush for a second.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Wow. I never. Sorry, keep going. It's a real word. It's a great
We love
word.
some reciprocity. Yeah. No, that's all I really had. I just
And
keep whispering reciprocity.
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 Reciprocity. Oh no. Can you say reciprocity with your
No.
No.
If Simon ruins the word reciprocity with a whistle tone, I'm leaving.
Can you
I will go.
Reciprocity.
Rhombico cytodecahedron. I'm assuming that's.
How did you even?
No. Because it's dodecahedron, which I know.
Dodecahedron.
Rhombicosi.
Rhombicosi dodecahedron.
Rhombicosi dodecahedron.
Rhombicosi dodecahedron.
Anyway, reciprocity.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
We all need to do more reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
That's your homework for this week, is see a need for someone and fill it.
But then it's
Do something nice, send someone something.
what's the opposite of reciprocity? Reciprocity. Oh fuck.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Yes.
Not
Reciprocity, but in the form of not a mutual benefit, just
Well, it's not even mutual benefit. It's just, but it is mutual benefit.
Exchanging
You get something
things.
out of it. Yeah.
well, yeah. So just if someone, yeah. At the end of the day, just be a good fucking human.
Yeah.
Like
But that's your homework. Because there's people out there who would really appreciate it.
yeah.
And probably do a lot for you. And do something back for them. Do
Obstru-
something.
This is just
Pneumona
become
ultramicroscopic silicovolcanitis. Hang on, did I get that right? Pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanitis. Yes, I can say that. Can I have $20 for that? Thanks. I love having autism. I learned that word.
well, yeah. So you cheated.
Fun fact, for the reason I know that word, I had a principal in high school. Her name was Mrs. Wolf, and she was a little bit fucking batty. Like, she once did an end of year speech about potatoes in front of all of the parents of the school. But she had a word of the day that she would send around in her morning, communications.
Nice.
And that was one of them.
So it's got to be someone doing pneumonia.
Pneumonia from memory, it's like a, what is it?
Pneumonia ultramicroscopic silicovolcano.
It's a lung disease caused. Yeah, it's a lung
pneumonia.
disease caused by inhaling ash.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because if it's a lung disease, it's obviously pneumonia related,
It's
and
also
then
made
it's
up.
from volcanoes because it's a volcano word in there, and it's microscopic, so that because it's microscopic that it would get into your lungs. Look at us, like full on breaking down the word.
Yeah.
There's nothing more rewarding.
It's also
than...
a fake word. It was made up to be so that it could be the world's longest word.
Oh, really?
Like, so it's a word that exists, but only because someone made it up. So it's a funny one.
I just got big silly.
Pneumona ultra microscopic
Silicovolcanoconiosis. Caniosis. There's nothing more rewarding than knowing you've done something genuine good for someone else and knowing it was appreciated. Yeah, to know you were able to make a difference to someone creates such powerful personal fulfillment. You know what? The thing on that is as well is that this is probably what breaks me and probably contributed to the depressive side was the fact that I know if somebody wasn't interested, they wouldn't bother. That's been my biggest downfall, I think, was becoming aware at one point in my life, probably my early 20s, of going, and it was something that someone close to me said, and they're like, too hard basket. Basically, it was like, it was like, why haven't they called? Why aren't they doing this? Oh, I'm making excuses for somebody all the time. It's like, because they don't give a shit, because they don't care. Because they don't care. If they did care, they would do those things. And that was a moment for me. It was like, I became so much more aware of those things. So but it was also my downfall because I was able to point people out for it and be like, I'd think of what I was doing. I'm like, if I'm not showing interest in someone and I'm not picking up the phone, I'm not responding, I'm not doing this, it's because I probably don't care enough. Because I'm not that close with the person, or I'm, if it was relationships, I wasn't into it enough.
Yeah, or
it's
that you're not close enough to be honest about the real reason that you're not replying, which sometimes it's like, I'm not replying because I'm in a crisis. But but we're not close enough that I can tell you that.
Yes, but if it's the whole, oh, look, if you haven't spoken to someone in a month, it's like, oh, look, I've been really busy. It's like, you're not that busy if you care enough somebody to pick up the phone. I get that it's a little different because if, I'm talking about more probably personal, like, relationships, like with, what do you call it? Sexual relationships or whatever you want to call it. Dating.
When I get that feeling. Yeah.
That's the thing that got me, and then it translated to my friendships because I was like, I would look back and go, okay, people that I've been really into, I was like, I'd make time. I would rearrange my calendar. I would do things, or if they needed me, I'd be there, whatever it was. People that I wasn't that close with, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll do it later. Or, oh, I'll message them later. Or I'm not really that bothered. Or if I'd get irritated by certain things. And it's like, okay, because they don't care enough. So then when I was seeing that constantly, when I'm like, I needed somebody, or if I needed, if I was showing that I was struggling and I wasn't getting that, I'm like, because they don't give a shit about me. Because they don't care about me. And that became that contributed massively to a rock bottom for me.
Yeah.
And what I struggle with. Yeah. Which I think you and I both struggle with a lot is that awareness of what if you really give a shit, you would do. And when people don't, you go, well, what is it about me? Why don't they care? It becomes a self-reflection. It's like, well, they don't care enough. What am I doing wrong? Why am I not a good enough person for someone to give a shit about me and want to care about me and want to make time for me?
Yeah. One of the big things in the millennial world, I guess, is who initiates conversation. I so often, and I don't know if you feel like this, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who ever starts conversation with some of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, do they actually really, like, if this is something I'm going to admit, although I think it's something that a lot of people sit on but never admit because they don't want to. But I constantly play the game of, what if I just stopped talking to people? Would they actually reach out to me? Or would they just all go, like, because I really don't believe that most of them would.
That is
like, how long would it take for anyone to care that I was gone?
That was, I think I've spoken about it before, but that was literally my rock bottom. It was when I was struggling real hard, and I had a group of friends, and we were all in a voice thing together. And I'm like, you know what? I was struggling. I went through a really bad breakup, and I was like, you know what? I'm fucking done. And I just stepped back, and I'm like, I'm not messaging anyone. Let's see who messages me, who gives enough of a shit about me to know that I'm really struggling with this, and who's going to be there for me like I am with all of their breakups. And I got nothing except for my best friend.
The problem for me is that I already know.
Isn't that scary? And then you just go, well,
I can sit here and know, and it's hard because I'm like, I love these people and I don't want to not be friends with them.
Right.
But I can tell you already, I could go through the 10 people I love the most, and I can tell you that 3 of them would notice if I was gone for a week.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing. That's what
And
I found.
that's really hard because it's like, well, then what's my value? Do I really matter at all to these people? You know, like, have they ever messaged me first about something that wasn't selfish?
Yeah. Or that just wasn't
And
lighthearted.
the answer
Nothing.
is usually no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, even just and that's actually, for me, I'm like, that's one of the things that I wish people would do. Is just like,
Yeah.
be the one to instigate a message, because I know that, like, it's hard and I know that we're all busy, but just little things, and it's the little things, right? It is the noticing a need and filling it through a gift or something. It's the messaging first. It's just showing signs to people who are very sensitive as neurodivergent people. We're very sensitive to small signs. We notice everything.
Yep.
I would prefer someone just reach out and message me first and ask how I'm doing and listen and care, or call me, than get a big elaborate gift any day. Just show some, like, that's, you know, and that's something that you talking about writing human really touched on, I think, and Fiddly Bits kind of mentioned too about
that.
calling. And I kind of said this to you earlier
Going
today.
to someone's
how
house.
much I value that we just call each other, as opposed to like booking in a time. And like, obviously we have movie nights and stuff, and I love movie nights. My favorite bits of movie nights are the before and after, where we just sit and have a chat. Like, that fills a gap sometimes, because those times, like when we have movie nights, it's that nighttime where suddenly you're alone with your thoughts a lot. And I fall asleep during nearly every movie night because I don't have to be alone. And that's really like soothing for me. So I wish that people would do that. I don't necessarily agree with everything that you're saying for the bits. I think there is that element there. I think sometimes it's lost, but I think that people aren't necessarily afraid of real contact, but also
I think they've become conditioned to it too.
People who, like, you live in Brisbane, I live in Melbourne. We can't always, like, most of our friendship and relationship is not based on real life. If we're looking at the tricycle, Dan, neither of us have ever met Dan. But I trust Dan with nearly anything.
But there's a
above
difference.
people I know in my real life.
And
so there is a difference.
I think
But
I mean in the sense
those relationships are still meaningful, and I think that the internet and platforms like Twitch have given people who are missing those things that relationship. Some of my closest friendships, you know, Richard.
But that's what I mean. I feel like that's when I say as in what I meant when I said that's different. I mean as in that I don't mean as in they are different relationships. But what I mean is the fact that it's different because, like, when we've created these relationships and this contact with each other online, obviously with you, me initially, but with people but we still, the difference is that I still feel like that is still a valid relationship, because if any of us were feeling, we'd still call, you know, and that's, and regardless of whether they're online friendships or not, that is still at the foundation of a friendship. And if you care about the person, it's about picking up and checking in and calling, like, regardless of whether it's an online one or not, they're still friendships. So it's when people are leading you on to, when you're creating those connections with people, if one person is always putting in and the other one's not, it doesn't matter if it's online or not. Like, that's when it's like, well, I'm in a crisis now. Is that person going to reach out and see if I'm okay? Or call, spend some time on the phone with me, whatever it is. Obviously, when you're not in the same place, someone, you can't just go to their house, but just to call and speak, dedicate time to that person to let them vent. It's not just a text. Like, some people can just go, I'll just text. Like, we text, but listen, like,
because it's not physical. Doesn't mean it's not valid.
So I mean more of a deeper connection.
I could hug the absolute shit out of you. Absolutely, I do. Yeah, I'm still mad at you for leaving me. How dare you? But, like, no, I'm not.
Well, I'm mad at you for leaving Brisbane in the first place before I even got here and before I even knew you. It's your.
You know, look. Sorry, I didn't live another 7 years in Brisbane just so that maybe you'd move here 7 years later. But those relationships are still valid.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're any less important or meaningful. Like some of my closest friends, I mean, I wouldn't know you, I wouldn't know Richard, I wouldn't be in the job that I'm in right now because the person who was the tag into my job, Gabby, who's now one of my best friends, I met through Twitch. And we are now like friends in real life who actually have nothing, we never speak on Twitch.
Yeah.
But that's how we met.
I almost wonder if that makes what Fiddly said about people rely on tech now almost because we've been so people like, okay, hear me out. Like, let me try and I'm trying to figure out how to explain this properly. We've become so disconnected in real life relationships, and that's like an incessant need we have as human beings, that people don't know how to just say hello in real life, right? That people are masking who they are in real life, that then they flock to the internet and actually create those genuine friendships and relationships and divulge themselves online.
I think
Do you know
maybe
what I mean?
you're misconstruing what we're saying a little bit, Fiddly Bits, because I don't agree. I don't think that, like, I mean, Erin and I, our relationship is almost entirely based on texting and internet-based communication because we live in different places.
Yes.
Here's what I propose after a long time on Twitch and the internet. All of us who have formed these beautiful, meaning relationships were the people who had a really shit time of trying to make them in the real world. It never worked. I had no friends. I had no one.
Yeah.
I had no one before this because I didn't fit into society because I was different because I had ADHD.
Yeah.
I had no one. I was ostracized and left out and bullied and harassed and just never, it never worked. And it was devastating. I come here and guess what I found? All of the other people all over the world who felt the same way.
Yeah.
And as we've grown into adults, I think, you know, those friendships have allowed the development of real life friendships because we can travel and we can, you know, you come here, I go there. There's a lot of sort of online aspects that have filled a place for those of us who didn't have a place to go. And suddenly we have somewhere where we can connect over music or over video games and common interests and things that we like and talk with people all around the world who have been there and get it and are sick of not having a place that they matter.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I see the value in real life friendships. I know that it's devastating when I can't hug the people I love, but I have found so much more fulfillment and joy through the relationships I've built through Twitch and anywhere else that have become my closest friends. Erin, Richard, Dan, you know, Simon, obviously. Sorry, I didn't mean to make Simon like an afterthought there. Sorry, Sai. Love you, Simon. But I wouldn't have those real life friendships. Erin and I would never have stumbled into each other on the street and struck up a friendship. Well, no, because we didn't in the 2 years that I was here before.
Maybe the strippers, I don't know. Because we were in lockdown.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we wouldn't have.
We
never would have met.
Yeah.
If I'd not met Richard through Twitch, through a charity thing I was working on. Twitch music is a unique community, but then I watch a lot of gaming streams too. So, yeah, I mean, it's such a special thing, and I don't want to discredit the validity of those relationships because, if anything, I think that they're far more valid and beautiful than anything I've found in the real world.
I was at one of the loneliest places I've ever been in before COVID. It was about 2000. When did we meet? 2014, wasn't it? 2013. Started 2014. We met and started dating. Well, met for the third or fourth time, whatever it was. End of 2014. Sorry. That's how we met. No, I'm kidding.
That was a mental image I didn't need. Good-o. Save it for the hot tub, Erin.
Well, we don't have one anymore, do we?
Oh, save it for the kiddie pool, Erin.
It's the thing is, I was, because of that point where I felt like I did nothing but give everything into all my relationships and friendships, and when I just got really fucked over by someone I was friends with for a really, really, like really long time. We started dating. He really scuffed me over, and I felt I lost a friend and a long-term friend and a partner in that relationship that ended. And I had close friends that were pretty just like meh about it. Oh, it's just another guy. You'll get over it. And I'm like, and to be honest, and like I was struggled, and I was, again, the whole point is that I'm always there for my. If they've gone through a breakup, if they're going through some shit time, had a bad audition because they were like performer friends. I'm like, I'm there. Whatever you need, bang, let's go out. I'll take you out. You want to go hit the clubs? We'll go. Whatever you want to do, like let's do it. And I didn't get the same back. I was devastated, and I stood back, and I'm like, let's just see who, like that was that. I know I'm going back to that point, but the point was like, let's see who messages me, because I'm always the one to message everybody first when they're going through a rough time, or in general anyway. And I didn't get anything except from like my best friend, and that was an extremely lonely time for me, because in that the internet was around, but it wasn't like it is now, and I only found Twitch in 2020, like due to lockdown. So during that whole period when I had no one, virtually no one, my best friend I didn't want to put a burden on her because she had her own life, she had her kids, and she was, like I didn't, that whole point of I don't want to cause trouble for people that, I don't want to be harassing her when she's got her own life together. But I had these friends that didn't have all of that going on, that had the time and should have cared, that didn't. And so I was so fucking lonely. Like, and without an online community, like this, I mean, when you kind of gravitate to an online community, there are people here that are in a similar scenario, or these are the people that actually give a shit, that are finding disconnect in real life and are looking for the same values and treatment. And like, I didn't have that at all during that point. That was really fucking tough for me. It was a good year.
Yeah.
And a good year of that. And, I just think, I wonder if I would have been safer and healthier and better had I known about the online community at that point.
Yeah.
And it's almost like when we come here and we have this kind of connection and people that you find your people, it makes you go, how fucked up are the people we know in real life that don't have that kind of human connection? Why? Almost makes me think, what do you mean? Like, why? What are you, like you said earlier, Mel, you feel a lot and you care a lot. Isn't that what makes us human? This is what bothers me so much. You go, are people so just self-absorbed in just what they're doing and just, knock anybody over, who cares, until I get to where I got to be, to the top, wherever that is? Like, it concerns me for humanity when it's like that. And that's what would bother me so much, is that finding some people who care. Does nobody care that much about each other? Or we've lost it that much? And it's scary. That's why I feel like a lot of us that actually have that, it's weird, because like people will look at internet relationships or internet friendships and all that stuff as such a disconnect and go, oh, they're your friends. It's like, well, we've got better friends and better connection and more humanity and more care about each other and ourselves than most people do who don't, like, who are in the real world, so to speak. And do you know what I mean? Like,
I do. And I wonder, like for me, I guess in a summary of things, it's really, I feel the same, because I wonder where I would be without that.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, even now, like I have felt quite lonely for the last sort of 4 to 8 weeks, even with people around me, because I haven't spoken about how I've actually been feeling and what you don't see, if you will. Like I haven't really spoken about it, only on a very surface level of, well, here's the sort of semantics of what's happening. Like it's a business presentation of like, this is going to happen at this time and I've got to do that, as opposed to I'm not coping with the stress of trying to finance a move and the unknown and the transition of like, if I don't do this, I'm not going to have a place to live in 6 weeks. And it's like, I'm not making any progress, and this is very anxiety inducing. Plus that I have a health issue and I have to have surgery and there's something wrong with me and I'm mentally not that well and I haven't mentally been that well for 6 months or so. But then I don't talk about it because it's been going on for a while and I don't want to be a burden on people.
Yeah.
And I felt really, really lonely because I'm not talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
But then how much worse would I feel if I didn't have anyone?
Yeah.
You know, while I haven't been speaking about that really hard stuff, what I have done is been like, Erin, I'm bored. And you go, do you want to watch a movie? And I go, yes. Because then I don't have to be alone. Even though I'm not specifically talking about it or like divulging, it kind of, you know, just takes a little bit out of the cup so that I can at least get by. It's a bit of company, it's a bit of not being alone. And that stuff really matters. And so, like you said, I really worry for people who don't have that because I'd rather have my internet people than have no one.
Yeah. Exactly.
And for so many people, that's the reality. For me, that was the reality before all of this. And
it's
it's
something that yeah, 100%. But it's just about giving a shit enough about people to not, like, so something what Valkyrie says, it's really common for people to not want. Is that, which one's that one? Crumpet?
Yeah. The first time they've wanted to be in a room with me, but if I so much as turn around, he'll go. But I just wanted to take a moment for how cute. Look how little he is. He's the size of Oscar's head. Hi, buddy. What you doing?
Snake, I just want to be on camera, Mum.
I'm ready to
Foster
start my
mum?
career. What you don't see on Umasking ADHD.
What meow you don't see? So what Valkyrie said, it's really because I think Valkyrie or someone else may have said a similar thing earlier. Hang on, the inability to easily fit into a standard way of living drone me towards other misfits. Yeah, for sure. It's really uncommon for people to assume nothing is wrong and nothing is needed unless they are told by you. I agree, but this is the thing that I would always come. And I totally agree. If people are asking you, are you okay or whatever, and you're just saying no, I'm fine constantly, and you're not divulging anything, that's semi on you. Like it's that whole I can't help you unless you help yourself, unless you open up.
And you've got to respect that sometimes people don't want to talk about things, and so you can't just push them because then you're pushing too hard on someone's boundaries. So you've got to, there's a level of no, you're not. Tell me what's going on, but there's also a level of okay, I got to back off.
Yes,
right. So,
and I totally get that. My problem is if I can pick up when someone's close to me isn't okay, and it just takes me going, what's wrong? Because I can pick it up because I know something's different. And again, maybe that's my ADHD being able to like read, like just pick up on so little tiny things. But like, if you're in a conversation with someone, don't you generally ask how's it going? It's about knowing what you've spoken about, where they are in their life. Like I've divulged for this my situation, I divulged what was going on, and I got nothing back. I remember one person that was supposed to be one of my best friends didn't speak to me for a month when she knew what was going on. And she's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm doing fucking shit. And she's like, why? I'm like, why do you think? And I went on and said what it was. And she was like, oh, you're still upset about that? And I'm like, you're still upset about that breakup? I'm like, where were you? You never once called me or come over to like sit with me and let me cry about it during this whole, like when it was going on, and had the, like, that was it for me. I'm like, it's things like that bother me. People that just
where you care more.
Yeah, when I'm in a crisis and they're not there, or when I'm struggling with something and then like they're not like, oh well, you'll get over it, you'll be right.
I keep tabs. I'm like, this person told me that this thing is happening on Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon rolls around and I'm like, how did you go? Yeah. Little stuff like that nearly no one does for me. And that's not me. I'm not trying to sit here and go, woe is me, everyone's so mean to me, because I have a lot of love in my life. Like I'm okay. But it's those little reciprocal things that matter. It's the remembering that something's happening. It's the, okay, well, they haven't told me that they're going through a hard time, but I know that they are. Yeah. They haven't told me the specifics, but I know that they're going through it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go here, like when I've had friends who are having a rough time, sometimes I'll send them like Uber Eats vouchers. Because I'm like, just get dinner. Yeah. Just feed you and your kid, and that way if your kid is fed, you don't have to spend the next hour sorting out dinner, just order it. Like, and it's those little, like, okay, maybe they don't want to divulge to me exactly what's happening. What can I do anyway?
Yes.
To just show that I'm here and I know that you're going through it.
Yeah, just the
Can
checking
I
in every now
offer
and again.
to look after, be like, you're going to, you know, like, what have you got on this week? Oh, I've got a doctor's appointment. Great. Drop the kid off with me. I'll
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh, you need, like, you know, drop off some frozen meals or send an Uber Eats voucher. There's things that you can do that don't impede on their, like,
Yeah.
desire to share something that's still like, I vibe that you're going through something, but even
Yeah.
if you're not, this is still just a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, the food thing is, like, the biggest one. Like, a frozen meal, or if you're somewhere away from someone, like, a food voucher, or, you know, just something that shows that even though you're not ready to talk about it, I'm here when you are.
Yeah.
Just, or
even
like,
just
you know, if
texting,
they
like,
do tell you something,
yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, I've got this big, you know, job interview on Wednesday. Great. So on Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning, you're going, hey, how did it go? How do you feel you went? And then a week later, it's like, any news? Like, just those little things that are like, I care about you.
Yeah.
And what is going on in your life. It's the same as the hydrating thing, right? It's that, like, thing that I didn't have to do to be a friend, but it's something that in doing separates a friend from a good friend.
And that's exactly what we're kind of talking about. Like, we're not saying that this is something you do with everybody you meet either, like, obviously. But when it's like, I'm talking, these are people that, you know, I would be calling, I'd speak to all the time. We'd go out, you know, when I was going out, we're going out with all the time. You know, these are people that I considered my core group friends that didn't show that reciprocal concern. Like, you know, I didn't expect people outside of that bubble to do the same thing. So when I had none of them doing it, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and that reflects bad, like, when you start thinking, what is it about me that I'm not...
Especially, yeah, exactly. It's not big stuff. I'm not saying, please pack up all your stuff for several days and help me move house.
But just checking in, even, how are you feeling today?
Say hi to me. Message me first. Like, it's really... And I understand everyone's going through stuff. I'm not saying it's all the time, right? But if you care about someone, especially someone who's neurodivergent, we notice everything.
Yeah.
And so it is heartbreaking when we give so much and often get back so little. And it won't make me care about you any less. It'll just make it hurt more the more I care about you.
Isn't it? It's like that thing. It's like, you know, I give 100%. If you just give 10%, I'd be stoked.
I'm a golden retriever.
You know? Yeah. And that's the
Like,
thing. It's like...
I will give you 100% of myself all the time. Just give me a pat occasionally.
Yeah.
And I will be... Like, my standards are fucking through the floor low.
Yeah.
For friends.
Yeah, for pets. But it's so true, right? It's like, it's not... And that's another thing. I'd be like, it's not fucking hard. If you've got a, you know, I was going out with these. You're good friends with someone. I don't comprehend. I can't compute how you wouldn't care if they're going through a tough time, that you wouldn't check in. Like, but again, this reflects the whole thing that you just like you self turn around and go, what is it about? Why? If I care about these people so much and I'm always there for them and I'm always doing this, why am I not getting it back? Do they actually not want me around? Do they actually not like me at all? And you go all through all these things and you end up in a really fucked up place.
And it's interesting because I've spoken to you a lot, like, when I would say my biggest, not crisis moment, but anxieties are this. And interestingly, talking through this is making it all make a lot of sense in that I'm often like, I'm just feeling anxious about this or that or this person or that person. I don't feel like they like me. I don't feel good enough. And it's just that. It's they're not giving me anything that shows it, that I can hold on to. I need grounding. Like I've always said, I think I've said here many times, my love languages are like words of affirmation and physical touch.
Yeah.
Because it's grounding. It's like, if I'm in the middle of a crisis, I can go back. Did you just touch me?
I did.
Show me on the doll. On your camera, what did you do? Did you boop my nose? You patted me on the head.
I did.
Adorable.
I gave you a caress. And then just...
I love a caress. Like that man caressed my side mirror earlier today. That's such a me. I would do that. If I'd run into someone's car with an e-scooter, I'd give it a pat.
Well, I'm sorry.
There. Sorry I hit you.
Would you do it to a robot that delivered you food?
I would. We're going to go see that robot. When you're next here, we'll go have Luxor and see the robot.
That's a whole nother topic, isn't it? Fiddlybit said, I had 6 months of work with a physical brain issue last year, Easter to October-ish. Yes, it was a bit of a worry for me. My bank went down and other shit got real, but you know what? I dealt with it one step at a time, walked my way through, and even now I'm still kind of recovering, but back to work and just taking life as I need to do it. Good for you. And I mean that, like, I feel like my dad says that a lot. He's like, good for you. And at first I was always like, even like, good for you. But now I, like, generally, yeah. And now I have this fear that people think I'm saying, oh, yeah, good for you. But I mean, like, good for you. Like, it is good for you.
Yeah. Huh? Like, I do that with, I'm proud of you. And I use it in both. So, like, I'll say, oh, I'm so proud of you. Or it's, like, sarcastic. Like, oh, you opened a can. Good for you. Like, I'm so proud of you. Good job, like, golf clap. Yep. But then I also am that person, like, I'm really proud of you. And I'm autistic, so I'm very bad at putting tone in words. So I'm like, oh, you aced your exam. I'm so proud of you. And they're like, oh, but I'm like, no. Like, I'm actually proud. That is assuming you know something is wrong, even if they won't talk about it. But what if someone won't talk about it and you have no idea that anything is wrong at all? They're just suffering silently with a smile that gives you no indication. Would you not wish they had told you something? I think if you Mel saying you don't want to burden people with your problems, and I can't help thinking there are people in life who wish you told them.
That's...
Yes, but I do, in my way.
Yeah.
I think maybe Erin, you can speak on this because like, I think you would see how I do this and you read it quite well.
Yes. I straight away will be like, what's wrong? Because Mel will say something like, okay, what's happened? Like, and they're the kind of, but I'm talking about these, when I say this, the kind of conversation we're talking about, the people that we're talking about are people that are supposed to be close friends that should know better. That's what I mean. Like, if you're I'm talking about your close knit of friends. Like, you can probably count one or two hands those core friendships that you have, right?
Top 8.
Yes, you're MySpace top 8 in real life. Like, they're the people that should know. Like, you shouldn't. They're the people you know inside out, back to front. You probably spend a fuckload of time with. That you should know when something's not okay. And if you don't know them that well, or if you spend that much time with them and you haven't been out, you can't pick up on those little things. Either they're hiding it really fucking well, and that's not your fault, or you're not paying attention, or you're not that close a friend to them as they are to you. And that's a really hard thing for the other person to handle. Like, I just feel like
hard.
If you know that if you and those people know that you are each other's close friends, that close, then it shouldn't be that much to expect that they have the same reciprocal care, or at least half, like, that like I said, we're talking about situations where we've actually told them that something's wrong, or you should be able to sense a very big shift in your emotions or your, how your responses are. Like, you can tell if someone's really down, if someone's up, and it's like, when you probably see you guys, and like I always say, it's like when you guys see me on stream a lot, I'm all like, blah, blah, blah. But you don't see me when I get off stream and I'm like full on like meltdown. Then I could never expect of you guys to be able to pick that up because of what I'm showing. That's different. That's a different kind of thing that's separate.
But yeah, that is. But at the same time, I still think, even for me, I think that any person, I'm very honest about what I'm going through. I'm just not candid about how much it's affecting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think anyone who hears about one of the things, for example, that I spoke about earlier with the, like, what you didn't see this week, I think anyone who heard about that would have enough understanding of the impact that something like that has on a person to know that even if they don't know how much I've been impacted, they would know that I am impacted. If I'm going, I've had a health scare.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not like Mel is totally 100% fine and doesn't, like, I hear that and I go, I should check on that person immediately. I'm like, that
Exactly.
cannot be easy.
Yeah.
Like, that would really scare me, and how would I feel? And it's the empathy thing, right? I'm like, I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, fuck, that would be awful.
Yeah.
Even if it's something little, I have such a high empathy drive. I'm like, oh, you're dealing with that at work? That would really suck. I've been there a couple of years ago and I remember what that was like.
Yeah.
What can I do? And I'm going to check in on you every couple of days and just make sure, and you know, we don't have to talk at length, but I'm just going to make sure you know I'm here so that if you do need me, I'm here. And then when you take me up on it, I show up.
Yes.
It's not like I'm here, and then you pick up the phone to call me and I don't answer and don't ever come back to you. If someone's like, if I'm telling someone I'm here if you need me, the second that they need me, I am there.
Yeah.
Because that is what a good friend does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying drop everything in your own crises. You know, you can call someone back. Just show up.
Yeah.
It's really, this is not War and Peace. Message someone first. Ask if they're okay and listen. Do something practical. Think of someone and go, I was in a shop today and I saw this and I thought of you, so I purchased it.
Yeah. Even if, especially on that note, the whole point of messaging first or whatever, it's like if and I can't stress enough that we're talking about like our core friendships too, but like it's that point you on two things. When you said, oh, I had a health scare, if you're like, oh shit, you're okay? No, yeah, I'm fine. If they go in detail and they tell you about it, like, wouldn't you want to go, okay, if there was something was like, oh, I got to go an appointment on like because of X, Y, and Z. If that was me, if that was my friend, I'd be like, hey, how did you go? Like Mel said, you check in. Or if someone says, I'm going through a really rough time, I'm going through a breakup, or I'm doing this, I'm going for whatever it is, a really stressful situation. It's okay, they're going through a really tough time. I would be wanting to check in with them in a few days. Like, I know we get busy and things happen and we slip our minds, and that's fine. But it's like when you don't hear from someone for like a month or 2 months, when they know you're going through a shit time and they don't reach out, they just go, oh.
It still hurts me thinking about.
Sorry, I've got to.
I need a gif of that. Erin, leave.
Like.
Just like a gif of you closing the door.
Like, and then they never come back. And then you never hear from them. And you're like.
Yeah, like it still sits in my, like, I've spoken about this, but I went through the worst mental health crisis I've ever had in late September of last year. And it still sits in my brain of the people who never once checked on me. And even though they're some of my friends, it's still like, that still sits really heavily on my heart. And it's something that I struggle with. And so it's something I still struggle with, is like, there's some people where I'm like, please just think of me. Just begging for them to show up because I care so much and I don't want to lose them. And I, like, love these people. So it's really hard. But I think ultimately, sort of, we're coming into the 3-hour mark and I want to leave it on a positive note. I think we can all,
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. I don't know if it was this check on you. Yeah, but that's kind of where Valkyrie, that's the kind of people that we're talking about, are the people that when you've made it clear and then they just don't check on you. But even that point of, if you're friends with someone and you never message them and they're always reaching out, like, that's not a mutual friendship. Like,
no,
it's,
yeah.
But just to bring it back to the whole neurodivergency factor is the fact that it's so much harder for us because we probably do. We struggle to regulate our emotions and that thing, so that we feel so much more. And
we notice little stuff.
Yeah, and we are so much more, probably more invested. And I'm like, we're probably always going to be, our bar for us giving to other people is going to be here, always. And I accept that.
You don't expect that back.
No,
100%.
Exactly. And I accept that that's where I'm always going to be. I'm always going to be at this level for other people all the time. And if you can just meet me here, that'd be great. Like, just check in with me every night. Like, if that's, but when you don't have those friendships that you thought that were those people for you, that you're going to be their mate of honor, you were going to be their person for the rest of your lives. You're going to be you're that tight as friends, and they don't give that, like, they're the kind of friendships I'm talking about. And, it can be all the more heartbreaking when you're not getting, and the kind of the point in bringing this up, I just want to pull this back for a second, is the fact of how it affects us and the way that and most people will be like, Simon and I have spoken about this, when it's like, I think, didn't you say, I'm sorry, I'm going to bring you into this, but you've said with those friendships, you're just kind of like, eh.
What friendships? Sorry?
Like, you're like really like, oh yeah, I'll contact them, but you know, you're a bit more you're a bit more forgiving, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're all or nothing.
Yeah, but it's just like.
Whereas I'm like, if you're not giving this much for me, fuck off. Then like, why am I wasting?
Because for me, it's more of a, all right, if that's the kind of, I'll use the term friend, but depends on your description of what a friend really is,
That's
right?
what, yeah.
But so I'll use that term loosely at the moment. But if that friend isn't gonna reciprocate how much I care for them or anything like that, to me it's like, okay, I know where I stand with them. I like them as a person. I like hanging out with them, but I'm not gonna treat them that same way that I'll treat the friend that does reciprocate. So I'm okay to say, catch up with that person and have a beer and have a chat and then walk away, and I'm happy to not see them for another 3 or 4 months because they're not close.
Whereas Simon would call that a friend, I'd call that an acquaintance.
See, I don't even think I have that.
Yeah.
I think I'm black or white. Either
Yeah.
we're friends or we're not.
Yeah.
But
That's
I treat everyone in the same. It's just that would hurt me a lot more.
yeah.
I would still treat them exactly the same, but it would crush me every single time.
Isn't it? That's what I'm talking about. Like things where like we'll have friends that don't reciprocate, but you just kind of go, oh well.
Yeah.
You're rather than so the difference between Simon and I would be, he'd be like, well, they're not going to be that kind of friend. What do you do?
Well, you can't
I'd be
change
like,
it. You can't change
Yeah.
it. And if they do, if they give you a call or a text, once every 3 or 4 months and go, hey, I'm in the area, I want to catch up for a coffee, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm free. I'm happy to sit and have a chat and talk to somebody.
Whereas
and we've got something in common because that's how we became whatever we are in the first place.
No, but I mean things of like,
So-
say, if they're supposed to be your close friends, but then you're not giving anything back. Like if they're not doing the same level, and like I said, where I've gone, you know what? I've kind of put it as a, what do you call it? Like what's the word? Like what's that word? You know, where you kind of go, well, it's either this or nothing. I'm not going to do this dance of pretending like we're close friends. We're actually not. I would just cut ties because fuck yeah.
And see, I wouldn't.
Where I would break
I
and
wouldn't
kills
cut the
me.
tie. I would just wait for them to eventually give up on me. It would just hurt me for a lot longer. I won't do it. I would just be hurt by it because I always assume that it's like, oh well, maybe it's just me and I'm overreacting. So
Yeah, I feel like that too until you get pushed too far.
I can't be pushed too far, which is a real problem. Anyway, don't read too much into that.
But, look,
I think
That's not what this stream's about.
on another point of this issue, I say issue, but it's not.
I probably go to an extreme.
Like, all right, then you look at somebody like, and a certain somebody that we,
Yes.
you don't know who I'm talking about.
Don't I?
No. First name starts with. No. Oh, no.
Okay.
That was funny.
Canberra.
But no.
Right?
No.
Oh, yes.
So my point is, this is a person I've
Not
known,
everything's about you, Max.
the person I've been good friends with and known since I was 18 years old. Right? We've got a long history together, but there's been like even the 10 years that Erin and I have been together, she could probably count on 1 or 2 hands how many times we've seen him or been in contact with him, right? So
Yes.
point being, where does somebody like that fit in what you both are saying? Because at the drop of a hat, if I called him out of the blue, like there's been years where we might have talked once in 12 months, right? But I could call on him and he'll jump on a plane and be here, right?
Exactly.
But there'll be other times, like I know for a fact that he'd been in Melbourne or something. Oh, no, I'm too busy. Oh, I've got this on.
That would bother me.
Yeah.
But I think
But
that's
look at the
different 'cause
friendship, Erin.
Yes, but you've
I'd
been,
still call
but
it
you've
my
been,
friend, but it would hurt me.
yeah.
See, but this
That
is
would
my
bother me.
point, Erin. You're sort of saying, you're
But-
sitting here saying, well, it's black or white, it's this or this. But I've got a couple of friendships like that where I
But if
could
you knew that
rely
he
on
was in
them, but they're not going to
crisis,
come
sorry.
running for the little things sometimes. If it's something major, they'll be there, right? But the little things where they might be close to you or whatever, and they've got some time, but they are, you can tell it's more of a, I can't really be bothered at the moment.
I would say that's not a close friend, like a
I
close
would
friend.
say that's not a close friend.
Yeah.
I would
But
say
they're
that's
going to drop
probably
everything
like-
for you if you need it. What is it then?
I
just
think it's a
wouldn't
long.
have
That's
that.
yeah. I almost feel like because you've been friends for so long, or you have other people that are included
Yeah.
in that friendship bond.
I also haven't had friendships that are from a past life
Yeah.
period. And maybe that's because I can't sustain a friendship like that because I find it too anxiety inducing, and so I just sever it because I actually find that too hard.
This is going to a whole new level with this. Like, because I would say
Yeah.
that because say one of my other friends that I've been friends with for a really long time, and we're not really anymore. But that whole friendship, that's only because of a certain situation. But me and her were never really similar. Like we grew up together, and we grew up together. That's what bonded our friendship. I could not speak to her for a year, and then it'd be like we never had a day apart when we talk. And if she'd call me, I'd be like, I'd be there for you. But I
Right.
think that's a whole different caliber of.
I'd say
But-
I don't
and-
think that Simon's way is wrong. Like I think
no.
that's totally fine. Like I'm not saying my way is the way. I'm just
I think people are
I
misinterpreting
don't-
that we're
it's
saying
different
that's
what
it.
I experience, and
Yeah.
I don't have the capacity to experience that as a neurodivergent person. I actually can't. Like that's not how I work with friendships.
Yeah.
And so I think probably your way is a lot healthier. I'd probably be a lot happier if I was that nonchalant about those kind of things and I could just let it go. but I
Agreed.
can't.
I think we've said
physically
this a
can't
lot, haven't we? If we
thrive.
cared less, I wish I cared less.
Oh my
But I
god, I
don't.
wish I cared less because I care so much and it's exhausting.
kills
And
us.
no one will ever care about me the way that I care about them.
But picking up the
As a
phone just to
blanket
find out,
check.
hey, are you okay? How's things? Is not much to. If someone's a close friend of yours, that shouldn't be much to expect. That every 20 calls that you make to them, that they pick up the phone one time.
Sorry, say that again.
I said it shouldn't be much to expect that if you've got a close friendship with someone, that for every 20 calls that you make to reach out to them, that they call you one time, that they think of you, that you come
It's
into their
about
brain first.
reciprocity more than it's about.
I love that word.
Like if that's your agreement side, that's the thing is that you do
Yeah.
it to each other equally.
Yes.
If you're in Melbourne, then he might not reach out to you. If he's in Brisbane, you might not reach out to him. And that's kind of like your mutual agreement. I think this is more about the reciprocity is that this is a friendship where the one person is caring a lot and that person accepts all of that care and accepts all of the conversations where we're talking about them, but never reciprocates or reciprocates far less
Yes.
or doesn't reach out first. And that's the thing about like neurodivergent, we care a lot and more than we think that anyone actually probably could. But we're just asking for just a little bit back, and quite often we don't get it, and it's really hard. But we also are not prone to ending those friendships because then there's the level of self-doubt and deprecation there where it's like, well, I don't deserve it, so I should just take what they're giving me and be grateful for it.
Yeah.
Which is something that I learned from my parents.
I think that's the big thing that probably people are missing is what our point is for this is how those kind of friendships end up affecting us. That when we're not receiving that reciprocal treatment, it feels like there's something wrong with us, and the microscope is being turned back on ourselves, and we're like, what is it about me? And it's the negative thought process that accompanies that. It's the why am I not good enough? I'm this. I'm that. I'm not. I did this too much. I did that too much. Or I'm not this. I'm not that. It's the microscope on ourselves. To why am I not good enough for them to want to be friends with me? For them
Yes.
to not to want to
I
care about
take
me enough.
Their lack of action as a reflection of my worth.
Yeah.
And that's what I've found really hard recently. And so to end it on a good note, because we are 3 hours in and I'm mindful of
Sorry,
your
Mel.
voice and my bedtime, both important. Homework, I would like everyone to message someone first who you know has messaged you a lot message them first, and also notice something and either ask about it or fix it. If someone's going, oh, I'm out of milk and I want a cup of tea, well, sort them some milk.
Be
Or if
present.
someone goes, I have a big thing that I'm really worried about next week, check back in with them.
Let's be present more in our
Be
conversations
present
with people.
and reciprocative. That one I don't think is a word, but I'm going to go with it.
I'll let you know. I think it is. That's one I recognise. Reciprocative.
Sometimes I say words and I'm like, I
It
made that
is.
up in my head.
It is. Wait, it's reciprocal. Reciprocative. It's saying reciprocative. It's in. Let's just say yes. It says.
Then that person should communicate their needs, Valkyrie. That's not on us.
Be working on turbo mode and making all the calls. All the friends might actually be a little overwhelmed by the intensity and have no need to initiate a call because they're already associated and could actually use a break. Yeah. It is definitely about meeting in the middle.
But it's also
But as
about
long as you're meeting in the
communicating
middle.
boundaries.
Yeah.
If you need a break because you're not coping, then great.
Yeah.
But that's not an excuse to not show up at all in a friendship when someone else is doing all of the work. If you're happy to engage, if someone's like, how are you and how are you doing and what about this and how's this going and asking you, and you're happy to engage in that, but you won't reciprocate, then you are the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
There. That's a one-sided relationship and that's not fair. Sorry, that's really blunt. But we're talking about like when someone is supposed to be a close friend and takes all of the benefits without giving back.
Yeah.
And how hurtful that is to someone who's neurodivergent because we're hypersensitive to everything.
And again,
So,
it's the point of saying that these are people that are close enough to you that should know these things. We're not talking about.
I don't know what my advice, double dummy, is when you're the only one who initiates because all I do is cry about it. So I don't know if that's a particularly healthy coping mechanism. Sorry about that. But what my advice is this week to be the person who initiates for someone who maybe you don't initiate for. And just check in with someone because we're all going through it at the moment, but not all of us will really talk about how that makes us feel. Someone goes, how are you? I tell them what's going on.
Yeah.
Not how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah. It's interesting because
I always ask that question. I'm like, yeah, okay, Steve told me what's going on. How are you? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How are you coping with that?
And we're not expecting you to be mind readers either. Like, I wouldn't expect anybody to be a mind reader because I'm pretty good at just going, oh, like, and I laugh it off and I joke about it. Like, I'll usually say my trauma in a joke.
Like, just pay attention.
But that's, but like, if someone's masking it well, like, you can't be expected to know. They're not saying that, if someone's not telling you and not being open and not confiding in you, you're not to know. They're not the kind of situations we mean. Because then that's definitely not your fault. That's not anybody's fault. Like, that person's going through their own trauma too. And you're not to know, but they're not, if they're obviously not, they don't understand how to communicate it either. So that's a whole other kettle of fish. How do you feel about that? Such a great question to ask. Be ready to listen. That's the point. Yes.
Do not ask if you are not prepared to listen.
Yes.
I'm going to use Tempsy as an example, and I hope Tempsy is okay with this. Tempsy and I will often talk when I'm just getting into bed, and we'll be having deep conversations, and I literally go, I just want you to know I will probably fall asleep in 5 minutes. So send this, but be prepared that when I don't reply, I'm going to reply to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've not just ignored something serious that you're telling me.
Yeah.
And we have that comment, and I do. I then don't. I've probably forgotten once or twice. I'm not going to lie. But for the most part, it's, I'm not going to show up if I'm not ready to listen. Nacho, I think that, if someone is but that they need to communicate that to a neurodivergent person. If I read that, I'm going, they hate me. What the fuck did I do? What is wrong with me? That's about communication. That's about going, hey, I don't know that this friendship is working for me. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Or, hey, I need some space because ABC, it's not your fault. Can we do this? That's about communication. That's not twisting the blame on the person who's neurodivergent for overwhelming someone. That's setting a boundary and clearly communicating with someone who really struggles to pick up on that stuff and takes that as a fault of them. That's about knowing your friends and caring enough and respecting the person that you love as a friend to communicate with them.
You know, that makes me think it comes, the core thing about it is communication, which communication is a really, we don't do it very well as a society.
We don't. And I think
we're not accepting of it enough.
I think we blame neurodivergent people for the faults in relationships way too much. And I'm not saying that to like antagonize anyone. I think we always receive the blame for we're awkward and we don't pick up well on body language. And it's like, well, what is anyone doing for us? And again, I don't mean this as I'm not trying to be like a, you know, one of those, whoa. Oh my God. That's so cool.
Look at you, Simon.
Simon. Anonisai has gifted a podcast mug to the chat. If you type !enter in the next 60 seconds, you could win the mug. So do what I just did. God, I hope I don't win it because that's what happened in Richard's. I did it to show. Quick, !enter or I will win. Go, 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 go,
!enter. Enter the thing.
Because you get a thing. !enter. Win a podcast mug. Quick. Go, 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 go. Everybody. More type.
No, dummy. Wrong code.
Also, just so you know, you too can use Forth to donate a merch item to be given away in the chat, which is a really cool function. So if anyone else wishes to gift merch, you can. !enter. Verimit. Congratulations.
Verimit.
I know what you don't see podcast mug. If you click on that link, Verimit, and then it'll ask you to log in with Twitch to confirm that it's your account, then you can redeem that and have it shipped to you for free. Congratulations.
Yay, not rigged.
I love that function and I'm really glad I didn't win because that happened to me in Richard's when I was explaining to someone how to do it. And then I won.
What did you gift?
A mug.
That's cute.
Is that the first ever purchase of podcast merch?
No.
Did you purchase?
No, Mark Rhodes did, remember? He gave it.
Oh, he did. Oh, wait, for our podcast? In our podcast?
What?
No, it might have been in our stream, but it was...
A reminder that all what you don't see merch is 10% off during this stream.
Only one's been redeemed.
But nobody redeemed it? Are you sure it worked?
Yeah, one got redeemed.
But it says one redeem left.
Yeah, so somebody hasn't redeemed it yet.
Can you re-gift it?
I don't know.
Someone didn't redeem their... Are you sure?
Well, I'm just going by what it says.
That's got your... No, that's your name. That's your name. That's you who gifted it.
I didn't... Oh, sorry, that was the one I just did. When am I talking
Yes.
about?
So they did the other... They didn't do the podcast one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mark bought one for himself.
Bought one. Mark bought
We
one.
can figure this out later.
Sorry.
But you can get 10% off of our merch during this segment. You can also gift some merch, which is kind of cool. That's all I have.
It's been an intense one today. I think we had so much built up from the last few weeks that yeah.
Thank you all for listening. I think we stayed fairly on track. Like we covered some extra stuff, but we did get through all of the things we wanted to get through.
We did talk about transitioning stuff and how terrible I
am
at it.
And it all loops in, as it always does with ADHD. It always loops.
I think this is it's good again for us from the over. How many was that? 4. Do you have another one?
No, I'm just trying to not sit on stream sniffing.
I'm very upset that you didn't do that on stream because I was off in my thing and then it's out the corner of my eye. I'm seeing you. And I'm like,
sorry,
I didn't
I'm
hear
really
it.
quick with a mute button.
I know.
I'm on it. I've never sneezed on my stream.
I wanted to hear it though.
5
Bad.
years.
I really wanted it. I was like, oh, I felt like I wasn't.
Sorry.
You no, please don't. No, why are you being sorry?
I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't sneeze all over you.
Damn it.
I'll do it next time. I'll make sure I do next time.
Good.
Cool.
You know what's funny is when I see Harley do it and he's like this.
Boy.
It's funny
He
seeing
gets
Callum
really
do it.
upset when I sneeze.
Oh,
He like comes running. It freaks him out.
Garfield,
He comes to check Oscar.
Oscar. He's like, Mum, you good?
Literally, every time I sneeze, he runs in going meow, meow, meow. He never meows until I'm sneezing. It like freaks him out. None of my other cats care, but I kid you not, he's here right now, right next to me. He's run in to check on me. Something about sneezing just freaks him out.
That's cute.
Amazing work, Pyramid. Congratulations on your mug. I can't wait to see a photo.
Yes.
Alright.
Did I hear a cat meow?
Alright. No, that was me.
Very well done.
Thank you. I've learned. I've had practice.
I hope this has been a bit more. Like I said, this is honestly just a bit of open chat and insight into like I said, we said obviously we kind of fall on the lack of. That's what I was trying to say about it's what I've started to learn about the ADHD thing and our inability to regulate emotions and how that can impact. These are just a bit of an insight as to what people like us might be going through and how we interpret things. And by no means we're not saying anybody is right or wrong and stuff. It's just a bit of compassion, I guess, or a bit of empathy, a bit of trying to maybe give you a bit more of a better understanding as to that what people like us might be thinking or feeling or going through. Whether you have somebody close to you.
To make you feel bad or feel guilty. It's
No.
just purely we just want to raise awareness to what people like us go through on any given day, just to help build some empathy in people, help you understand for yourself or understand for your partner or your kids or your friends what they might be going through.
For those who are watching us on YouTube, thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you so much.
Thank you for hanging out there. And we're going to wrap you up in a blanket. Whether it's a woolen
like,
blanket, which
subscribe,
regulates
comment.
Huh?
Please like and subscribe
That.
and comment and ring the bell and all of those YouTubey things that one does on YouTube.
Ding!
Ding.
Next week, Mel, what's our plan? Should we talk about it after?
We will talk about it after. If anyone has any ideas, you can join Erin's Discord and post them in there.
We may eventually have one of our own. We may be shuffling times and stuff. So I'd be very interested to see how people are going with times. And please check in the Neurodivergent channel. And if you're like, I'm happy with this time, I'm not happy with this time, I prefer this. And obviously we're just we're taking it on board and just keeping an eye out for what maybe the demographic is, the majority is, and what works for us as well, obviously. But just want to try and get some regularity and just find the sweet spot for us.
Find your sweet. That wasn't quite how I meant that, but that's fine. Really hoping that Simon's in-ears are out. No, I can see one, but bad news on the other one. Oh well. Worst things
Please
happen.
hold.
Ow! Oscar bit me. I deserved it.